Morning, good evening.
Good morning, good evening, both of them.
Fantastic. Good to see you all. I hope my voice is loud and clear. Can you all hear me clearly? Am I
Yes, we
audible?
can.
Yeah,
Okay, fantastic. Wonderful. So let's everybody join and then we will start. We are waiting for a few more people. Okay, meanwhile, let me just share my screen. You can also check your microphones and speakers because today I'll try to make you all speak a lot. We'll have a very interactive discussion. And the idea is you should understand each and everything that we will be covering in today's class. Okay, everybody, please turn on your cameras. Okay, why I say turn on your cameras? So let me explain this. So when I teach, when I explain a concept, I look at all of you. And when I feel like your eyes look confident, I move to the next concept. When I feel like, no, you're confused, I spend more time on that. Okay. So that's why turning on the camera is really, really helpful, right? That gives me an indication that this is what making sense to you. This is something that's difficult. This is something where you're struggling. So we need to spend more time on that. Okay. Right. So can you see my screen, everybody? Can you see my screen? No?
No, yes,
No,
we can.
no, I can't.
Okay. Just a second.
It's loading now. Yeah,
Yes,
visible.
Okay. Can you see my screen, everybody?
yes.
Okay, fantastic. Everybody, please turn on your cameras. Munib, Waleed, Rasat, Sahal, please turn on your cameras.
Hi sir, how are you? Just give me some time. The room is little bit dark.
It's
That's
okay.
why. Okay, I will
All
come.
right.
Within-
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
sir. Thank
Take
you.
your time. All right, everybody. There are total 6 lessons in our course. And yes, you could see in front of your screen. Can you see my screen, everybody? Okay, fantastic. So there are total 6 lessons in in your course. So lesson one, let me go back to show you where we had discussion about lessons somewhere right here. Okay. So we divide our project in 3 different sections. So those who couldn't understand anything in yesterday's class due to whatever reason, right? Please pay attention. I'm going to cover some of the concepts that we covered yesterday as well, right? So we have pre-project work, then we have project work, and then we have post-project work. In this course, our core focus is project work. PMP is all about this middle section. As a project manager, your job is to take care of this section, right? To take care of project initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing, right? As a PM, we are not much concerned with pre-project or post-project. Now, what is pre-project? Pre-project is when we perform business analysis, feasibility studies, right? Economic feasibility primarily, business case. Business case is the responsibility of project sponsor, right? They assist project sponsor to have a business case. What's the primary benefit of business case? Everybody, please write in the chat. When I ask the question, everybody, please write in chat. What's the primary benefit or the outcome or the purpose of a business case? Feasibility of the project. What does that mean? Just elaborate a little bit. Economic feasibility, profit, project selection on the basis. Absolutely. Shujat. Fantastic. Zaman, justification of project. Vertu, to make sure the project is profitable. Vertu, could you please explain a little bit? What does it mean? You're on mute for selection of project
Saying
that
that
makes. Yeah.
the project won't lose any money for the business.
Okay. Project will not lose any money for the business. Okay, perfect. Answer is saying evaluation of benefits. Numera is saying cost benefit analysis. Arif is saying for selection of product that makes suitable to the companies today. Arif, could you please elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, okay. The companies, they will have their own visions and regarding the type of project, like reduction of carbon emission, like this, all this. They will look this scenario also on this business analyst time.
Right. Okay. Absolutely. Business case is economic feasibility study of your project. Business case tells you if you should proceed further or not, right? It's in simple word, as Numara mentioned, it's cost benefit analysis of your project. You see what's the cost and what's the benefit. If benefits are more than the cost, you're going to proceed. If benefits are less than the cost, you're going to kill the project there. That's pre-project work. That's the business side or the financial side of your project. Project manager has nothing to do with that. Project manager has nothing to do with the financial side of project. Yes, they can contribute, they can provide their technical input if it is needed, but the primary responsibility of business case lies with the business analyst and sponsor. Okay. Now, once business case is developed and the organization has decided, yes, let's do this project. Now we need a project manager. Does it make sense, everybody? Now we need a project manager. So yesterday we talked about this section, selection of project, right? We talked about fundamentals, project program portfolio, OPM, right? We talked about PMOs, supportive controlling directives, right? We talked about different types of organizations. Those were just to understand the organizational system. Okay. Okay. Who would like to answer why it's important to understand different types of organization? Why?
To know the structure of the organization, how they are working, how they are doing their operations.
What's the benefit of that? How it is relevant to project? Just go and execute the project as a project manager. You are appointed as a project manager.
You know how, as it's mentioned here, you know that how the project is going to be initiated, how the planning,
Yeah,
especially the execution part of that.
that's right. But what information yesterday that you learned is super important for a project manager to understand?
Project charter,
Project charter, no. Anybody else?
Coordination within the some organization.
Coordination within the organization. That could be one aspect. Jen is saying by understanding different types of organization can have direct impact and perhaps could influence your resources. Absolutely. Your control, your authority. Fundamental and primary thing that we do when we understand an organization to see what's my authority, what's my control as a product manager. And you learned that in different organization, project manager has different authority, right? If you're working in a functional organization, right? Your authority is very limited. You're reporting to the functional head. If you're working in matrix, it has its own advantages as well as disadvantages. And if you're working in projectized, you have ultimate authority, but there are some disadvantages as well. What are the disadvantages of a projectized organization? Anyone, please?
Job security, insecurity, job insecurity.
Job insecurity. Okay, anybody else? Everybody. Okay, when I ask question, everybody please write in the chat.
Lack of
This is how, yeah, go ahead.
lack of contribution.
How lack of
Because,
contribution. For
because
every correct answer, I'll give you $1. And for every wrong answer, I'll charge you $2 because you're taking everybody's time. Okay, go ahead.
because this is
Lost of skilled,
they will not
personnels.
be fully dedicated to the
So
project.
Arif is gone. Arif is frozen after listening $2 class. Okay, Arif, go ahead.
Hello?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, Arif, go ahead.
Yeah, what I mean, because this is they will not be fully dedicated, as mentioned before, job security, because they will not perform their full.
Why? They are fully dedicated to your project. Then what's wrong with that?
No, because mentally, because it's short term, so the mentally they will not be stable. Stable.
Okay, mentally not stable.
Yeah, because of
Okay,
this short term.
right. Yeah, they will be thinking about other stuff, applying for other jobs, right? Okay, perfect.
Yes,
Wonderful.
yes. Okay,
So that's
okay.
why understanding the type of organization is really, really important, right? And then we talked about uh, what project influences, OPAs, and enterprise environmental factors. And the last thing that you covered was governance structure, right? Once we establish all these things, we develop business case benefits management plan. Now we will jump to the initiation stage of project. This is your lesson 2. Start the project. That's what we are going to discuss now. We have a lot to cover today, right? So please pay attention. Lesson number 2, which is project initiation or start the project. Okay, when we start the project, we perform a few activities here. So at this point in time here, we do not have any project manager. You understand, everybody? There is no formal project manager. So the very first thing is project manager should be appointed. Project manager should be appointed. And who appoints project manager? Sponsor. Some of you might be thinking, can sponsor be external to the organization?
Maybe it can be like external customers.
It could be external customer. Okay, anybody else?
Sorry, could you say that again? Project sponsor external to the organization?
Yeah, that's my question.
I would say likely not, because it is the project sponsor also supposed to make sure that the project aligns with like organizational goals and strategic
Yeah,
direction.
yeah, absolutely right. Sponsor is internal to your organization. Sponsor is your own boss, right? Sponsor has specific role to perform. What's the role of sponsor? Everybody, please write in the chat. What's the job of a sponsor? What's the role of sponsor? Please write in the chat, everybody. Sponsor cannot be outside of the organization. I'll tell you why. Okay, resources, monitor and control, project charter, control project. Don't be scared of $2, right? Nobody's counting, right? Just write your answer. Control project, authorize the project, and fund the project. Okay, perfect. Funds, fundamental, primary responsibility of the sponsor is to provide resources to project manager. That's the primary job of sponsor. You understand, everybody? To provide resources and funds to project manager. And project manager is answerable to sponsor. Project manager boss is project sponsor. Sponsor makes sure that project manager has enough resources to execute the project. And who is ultimately accountable for the success of the project? It's the sponsor. Ultimate accountability lies with the sponsor. See, now let me help you understand the logic behind it. Let's say you have a client or a customer. Customer is paying something and in return they are getting something, right? With whom they have a contract. Customer has a contract or link with whom? On one side we have customer, what we have on the other side? Which entity is taking the money? Forget about sponsor. Just think about in real life.
Vendor, it could be vendor or it could be service provider or someone from where the services are being asked by the sponsor.
Okay? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the service provider. Now,
yeah.
who is the service provider? Who
Client?
is the service provider? No,
Uh,
client is
Stakeholders.
taking the services. Client
yeah,
is taking the services, right? Service provider is an organization, right?
yeah.
You understand? Now, the
Yeah.
question is, an organization is not a living entity. Someone needs to represent that organization. Contract is between humans, right? Someone needs to sign that contract on behalf of organization. You understand? Does it make sense? Someone
Yes.
needs to sign that. That individual is called sponsor, who represents service provider. So that individual cannot be outside of your organization. Does it make sense? That individual should be within your own organization because they are the link between customer and your organization, right? They represent your organization. And then they appoint project manager. You as a project manager, you're not answerable to client or customer. You don't report to client. Have you ever seen project manager reporting to client?
Many times, actually, many times. Always the
No,
project manager is in front of customer to present
no,
things.
that's right. From reporting, what I mean is like if you need to go for, let's say, if you need leaves, do you ask customer, please approve my 5 days leave?
No, 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 exactly no.
No, you report to your boss, right? You're answerable to your boss,
Yes.
right? Can customer fire you?
No.
No. If you are reporting to
In some cases, yes. Because if the client is not happy with you, they of course will let the sponsor know and then you are fired.
ultimate, who is firing authority? Sponsor, not the
Sponsor.
Sponsor.
customer. Customer can provide feedback, but they don't have any authority. You're not answerable to them, right?
Yeah.
You understand? So someone who represents the organization, that sponsor, and sponsor is within your organization, right? So now sponsor has have done their job. They have developed the business case, right? Now they want the project to be executed, and for execution, they appoint somebody as a project manager. So the first thing that we will be doing, we perform 4 activities in initiation stage of your project. 4 activities. Charter, develop project charter, step number 1. Team formation, step number 2. Identify stakeholders, step number 3. And select methodology, step number 4. So these are the 4 steps which are performed during the initiation stage of your project, right? During the initiation stage of your project. Project charter, team formation, identify stakeholders, and select methodology, right? Okay, and these four could be four phases. Like first phase is where we are appointing project manager. Phase two is where we are forming the team. Phase three is where we are selecting the methodology. Phase four. So within one process group, there could be multiple phases. That's what we discussed yesterday as well. Okay, now let's start with the first one, project charter. Any questions so far? Anyone, please? Any question, anyone, please? So lesson number two, project initiation. And initiation starts with appointment of project manager. That happens through charter. Charter is the first activity when you have PM. Then they form their team. Team identifies stakeholders and they select the right methodology for your project. All these activities are done during the initiation stage of your project. Okay, so we talked about this discussion. Who is sponsor? Who is business analyst? What is project charter? Okay. Yeah, Jen, go ahead.
Um, I know I asked yesterday if the charter, where it kind of fell, would you say the difference between the pre-project and the project phase, that gate or that phase gate would be signing of that contract or like approval of the business case?
That's right.
And
Approval
after,
of the business
and after,
case.
immediately after that phase gate would be the, of course, project charter.
That's right. Absolutely. Once the business case is signed, we are done with the pre-project stage of your project. Then we jump into the initiation. And the very first activity that we do in initiation is we appoint project manager through charter. Jen, is it clear?
I was trying to use phase gate into a practical application of the phrase. Phase gate
Yeah,
is also moving pre to that is the signing of the approval of the business case.
that's right. That's right. Absolutely. Okay. So the first thing is we develop project charter. And who develop and signs the project charter? It's the sponsor. It's the sponsor's job to develop and sign the project charter, right? Now, what is project charter? Project charter is your high-level document. It could be either one page or two-page long, and the primary purpose of project charter is to formally initiate the project, formal initiation, right? It formally tells that as an organization, we are going to kickstart this project, right? So formal initiation of the project. And how do we do that? By appointing somebody as a project manager. So it's a one-page long document or two-page. So what we have in that one or two page, we have goals and objective of your project, deliverables, high-level scope, high-level schedule, budget, risk, assumption, constraint issues, milestones, key performance indicators, exit criteria, resources, name of project manager, and name of sponsor. So it's a high-level document. What's the purpose? The purpose is to officially kickstart your project and appoint somebody as project manager. Is it clear, everybody? Any confusion? What is charter? Anyone, please, if you have any confusion regarding what is project charter.
No, it's clear.
Okay, perfect. Right. So what do you think, what are different ways or different tools that we can use which are helpful in developing the charter? If I ask you to develop a charter, what are various things which could be helpful to you? Everybody, please write in the chat. What do you need to develop the charter? KPIs, okay. Anybody else? SOW, statement of work, okay. Contract, perfect. Contract, really important. Business case, fantastic. Anything else? Vision, mission, deliverables, perfect. So primarily business case and contract. These are primarily two inputs which are helpful in making project charter. Because all the information that you see here, you will directly get it from either contract or business case. Okay, we use various techniques as well. For example, expert judgment, interviews, brainstorming, document analysis, lessons learned, policies. We use all these things. And we also use product box exercise. This is also called product vision box. During charter, what we do is we write high-level goals and objective of your project. And for that, what we do, do product vision box. Now, what is vision box? When we talk about product, let's say I ask you, let's write project vision and mission. One thing is everybody starts writing in the chat or on a piece of paper, right? You write it. In product vision box, what we do is we place a physical box in the middle, right? Team members, they have, you know, pens or paper of different colors, and they write it. They decorate the box with colors and ideas and themes, right? So whatever they feel like product should be, they write in that box. So it's actually writing, but in an interactive and collaborative fashion. So understanding product vision in a collaborative fashion, that's what we call product vision box. To have some sense of tangibility. So you place a box in the middle and everybody writes on that. So just to make this activity interactive and fun, we place a physical box. In simple words, it's an exercise to write down the product vision. Is it clear, everybody? Any confusion? What is product vision box and how it is different from simply writing product vision on piece of paper? Just to make it interactive, fun, and creative, we place a box in the middle and everybody write different features of the product on different side of the box. So we write it down.
So
And
Okay.
this,
the people
sorry,
who are involved in that are the sponsors, analysts, and the project manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Primarily project manager, some customer representative could be part of that. So usually vision statement is developed in IT projects in agile environment. We'll be talking about that later. And if it is agile, it would be product owner, not product project manager. So product owner, with the help of business analyst, leads this effort to define product vision. You understand, everybody? Does it make sense? And what we have in vision statement, what the product is, why product is being developed, who is the target customer, who are the competitor, and what are the differentiators, how my product is different from competitors. Who would like to answer? Everybody, please write in the chat. What is the benefit of vision statement? What's the benefit of vision statement? Gives clarity about the product, clear understanding of the project. This statement leads to detailed SOW. Clear view on what to be done. Clarity on expected results. So in simple word, it gives you a direction, right? It gives you a focus. Stick to this. Do not move here and there. These are your goals and objectives. No matter whatever happens in future, stick to these goals. This is my target audience. This is my competitor. This is why I'm building the product. Stick to it, right? You can change the feature, but ultimate goal is this. So having that guardrails to narrow down your focus, that's the objective. Okay. Jen asked question, what do we do with that box? So we shift it to the store. So what we do is after um, writing down and completing the exercise, we extract the outcomes and we develop the vision statement, right? So whatever is the outcome of this, we write it down in the form of vision statement. So it's a creative exercise to brainstorm and write down product related ideas. Okay, then we conduct kickoff meetings. So kickoff meeting can be held at the end of initiation or after project charter is signed, typically at the end of initiation stage. So what we do in kickoff meeting, we invite all relevant stakeholders. We present project objective, what the project high level scope, schedule, cost, whatever you list down in charter, you present it to all the stakeholders. You seek their input, you clarify rules and responsibilities, right? You present high level requirements to them, right? And present results of any of the efforts that you have done so far. So the purpose of kickoff meeting is to have shared understanding among all stakeholders. That's the purpose of kickoff meeting. So you conduct kickoff meeting, invite key stakeholders, present whatever you have done so far. Shujat, you have question?
Yeah. So, can we say that the stakeholders are identified while defining the product charter? Because there's another phase called stakeholder identification. So, can we assume that all these stakeholders, the relevant stakeholders, are already part of the charter? Because you are giving a
No,
kickoff meeting,
no,
and yeah.
no. These activities are conducted simultaneously. There is no sequence in that, right? In initiation stage, we make sure that charter is developed, team is identified, right? So
Mm.
if team is not identified, you cannot identify stakeholders. So when first you have team, so first you have project manager will define, identify team members. Once team is assembled, then they work together to identify all stakeholders. Once you have all stakeholders, then you conduct kickoff meeting. That's why I said mostly kickoff meeting is held at the end of initiation stage. The last thing that you do in project initiation is you conduct kickoff meeting. So kickoff meeting leads you or it helps you enter in the planning stage of your project. At that time, we have stakeholders and we have team member, we have charter, we know the methodology. Okay, is
Okay.
it clear?
Yeah, clear,
So
clear.
there are two things. PMI says that you can conduct kickoff meeting at the end of initiation or at the end of planning. For small projects, do it at the end of initiation. For large projects, do it at the end of planning. Why? Who would like to answer? Why? PMI says if you have a small project, conduct kickoff meeting at the end of initiation. For large projects, conduct it at the end of planning. Why?
I think for the small projects, the scope is easier to explain to the limited audience because the scale of the project and the scope of the project is not that long. So you can easily identify the stakeholders and give them the briefing on the project scope. And for the large projects, probably it's a detailed working model that you should identify the work breakdowns and everything and then explain it
Yeah.
to them.
See, we need to understand the purpose of kickoff meeting. What's the purpose of kickoff meeting? To have shared understanding about the project, right? If it
Yes.
is a small project, right, you know most of the detail that you can present at the end of initiation. But if it is a large project, you don't know detail until some level of planning is done. So if you haven't done planning, what you're going to tell to your stakeholders? So it's better complete planning, then invite stakeholders, present everything, right? So to give better idea, better understanding to the stakeholders, it's preferred conduct kickoff meeting at the end of planning stage for large projects. Okay, so that's your activity number one. What we did, we developed project charter. Project charter performs two functions. One, it formally initiates your project. And second, it formally appoints project manager. Now, project manager has been appointed. Next step is project manager will be forming their team formation. So team members can be hired internally or can be outsourced, can be hired externally. But when we hire team members, we should take care of a few aspects. First is called type of professionals. We have three types of professionals: generalists, right? Specialists and generalizing specialist. Three, generalist, specialist, and generalizing. So let's first talk about specialists. What do you think? Who are specialists?
Functional teams, functional managers, they are specialists.
Technical
What do you
team.
mean by functional managers?
For example, finance manager is expert in its finance division and finance department. He knows everything
Why?
about it.
Yeah, specialist, as Jen mentioned, having in-depth knowledge in their own area. That's the spec. All of you are specialists, right? Some of you are civil engineers, some of you are mechanical engineers, some of you are software engineers, some of you are from healthcare industry, some of you are from education, right? You have specialized knowledge and specialized skill set in their own area, right? A person who has in-depth knowledge about their own field, that's what we call specialist. Similarly, we have generalist who do not have in-depth knowledge in one of the areas. They have a little bit knowledge or shallow knowledge in various domains. A little knowledge about IT, a little knowledge about construction, a little knowledge about HR, a little knowledge about finance, right? So these are called generalist. What we need to do is we need to find combination of both. That's what we call generalizing specialists. It's combination of both. Generalizing specialists. Now, who are generalizing specialists? Who have breadth of skill set and who have depth of skill set. They have little knowledge about IT, finance, HR, and marketing, but they have in-depth knowledge in one of the areas. So these are called generalizing specialists. What's the benefit of generalizing specialists? Anyone, please? What's the benefit?
They can perform better in a lot of areas
How?
because they do not only have a specialized knowledge about one thing, but they also have a general knowledge on so many other areas. So, for example, if some, but it can be one can be a uh, for a generalist specialist, I can be a specialist in one thing, for example, IT, but to run a whole project or a product, if I have a general knowledge of finance and HR and marketing, then I'll be able to perform better in rather than just focusing on one narrow
Yeah,
thing and
yeah,
ignoring the other sides.
absolutely. First is it broadens your vision, number one. Number two, you're better positioned to communicate with other cross-functional teams. And number three, as Jen mentioned, if somebody is not available, other team members can take care of the work. So we should always look for generalizing specialist. It's not easy to find generalizing specialist. We can transition from, okay, specialists are called I-shaped individuals, and generalizing specialists are called T-shaped individual because you see, T-shaped. We can transition from I-shaped to T-shaped. How we can transition? Everybody please write in the chat. How we can transition from I-shaped to T-shaped. Okay. Training, role swapping, knowledge transfer, pairing, job sharing. Seems like Jen starts writing before I ask question. But he is super, uh, highly efficient in typing. Fantastic, absolutely. So we can conduct training, we can swap role, right? Maybe we ask Saqib to teach next Saturday, right? Just to make him T-shaped individual. So role swap, pairing, job shadowing. What is job shadowing? Anyone, please? What is job shadowing?
On-job training.
On the job training. Could you please elaborate a little bit more?
For example, usually in the call centers, when there is a new recruits, they're supposed to sit with the live agents and listen to the calls to have an understanding how the calls are working and understand the
Yeah.
SOPs and systems.
Job shadowing is when a junior team member shadows a senior team member and see or learn how work is being performed. So learning through observation, that's what we call job shadowing. You understand? Shadowing. If somebody is performing job, you're shadowing. You're standing on top of that person and you're observing what's happening, right? Job shadowing. There's another one that's called reverse shadowing. What's that?
The manager, he look up to the new joinee, how he's performing.
So how learning happens here? Who is learning? Manager is learning?
No, no, not learning, verifying his capability.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Verifying
we
the
can
capability, making sure that they're performing their work in a right manner. Okay.
we
Another
can
thing that
also
you take,
say when a senior team member uh, yani give instructions to junior to how to work like this, yani share his experience with him.
that's job shadowing, right? When a junior team member is learning from senior team member, that's job shadowing. Reverse shadowing is exactly opposite to that. A senior team member verifies how a junior team member is performing work. So all of these things are helpful in transitioning from
Say
I-shaped to
how
T-shaped
will
individual.
be reverse shadowing doing? I mean, how will the senior will verify that junior is doing his task accurately?
A junior team member will be doing the work and senior team member will be observing. Let's say you are junior, I am senior, I'll assign you a task, you will come to me and I'll see if you're performing it in a right manner or not. This is how reverse shadowing is done.
Okay, okay.
Can we say like generalized manager sits with a functional manager so that they are the project manager, but they go to the function and then try to learn something. Can we call that reverse or shadowing?
Reverse shadowing or job shadowing is linked with seniority, level of seniority. If a junior team member learns, that's what we call job shadowing. If senior team members observes, that's what we call reverse shadowing. So it has nothing to do with functional manager or product manager. One is junior, other is senior. One knows more, other knows nothing. When they interact with each other and a junior team member learns, that's what we call job shadowing. When a senior observes how a junior is performing work, that's what we call reverse shadowing. Is it clear? Fantastic. Okay. Once we take care of T-shaped individual, we should also know that a team goes through different stages during the development process. So Bruce Tuckman explains 5 stages of team development: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Forming, when team members are formed, they are shy, they are clueless, right? But at the same time, they're very excited. Then they jump into the storming stage. Since they come from different backgrounds, there are different personalities, different values. So there's a difference of opinion. Difference of opinion leads to conflict. So we have conflicts during this stage. Then project manager jumps in. Team members sign team charter. Now, team charter is different from project charter. Everybody, please turn on your cameras. Okay, so team charter. Team charter is a document, right? Team charter is a document that contains norms, values, code of conduct, right? It contains meeting norms and protocols, how conflicts would be managed, how we will be communicating with the team, how decision will be made among team members, what are the ground rules, what are the performance expectation. So this is a working document that outlines how as a team we should be working. How as a team we should be working. So this is your team charter. Do not mix team charter with project charter. Team charter is team's internal document to regulate their conduct. It also contains Values, and in PMI Code of Ethics, there are 4 values: responsibility, respect, honesty, and fairness. We should accept responsibility of our action. We should respect each other. We should be honest and truthful. And we should be fair with each other. No biasness. So these are the 4 values which are mentioned in PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. Okay. When we talk about decision making, there are different ways to make decisions, right? For example, if I say, let's take a break now, and all of you say, let's do it, that's what we call unanimous decision, unanimity, 100% agreement. When 100% of the team members are agreed, that's what we call unanimity. Let's say if we are right now 20 people, and suppose uh, 11 out of 20 say, let's take a break. That's what we call majority. Majority is when more than 50% of the people go for an option. That's majority. Then we have plurality. Plurality is option that is chosen by the largest block. For example, 40% go with option A, 30% go with option B, 20% C, 10% D. Now, is it majority? Anyone, please? Is it majority?
No, no, not.
Why?
It's less than 50. It's less than 50%.
Okay, Noman, why it's not majority?
Sorry, your voice is not clear. Huh?
Yeah, why it's not majority?
For decision-making techniques,
Yeah,
sir, actually, I just joined now. I could not hear you.
okay. Answer why it's not majority.
So it's not usually measure actually if it's more than 50%, easily we can say it's minimum majority we feel we completed it.
Okay, right. Waleed, why it's not majority?
It's not majority because to have a majority, it should be more than 50%. And for the plurality, largest can you say that choosing the best option, like if it's one is 25%, other is 26, so we go with
Yeah,
26%.
absolutely right. So it's not majority because none of the option has 50%, more than 50% support. So we will go with the largest block, 40% among all, and this is called plurality. I hope everybody's clear about what's the difference between majority and plurality. And then we have autocracy. I say, let's take a break without taking anyone's opinion in consideration. Autocracy, right? A single individual, one individual, when they make decision, that's what we call autocracy. Please pay attention to this conversation. If you understand concepts here, you need not to spend more time on it. If you're just taking the class just to fulfill the hours, it will not help you, right? You all have recorded lectures. Why we are spending this much time? Just to make sure you understand these concepts. If you don't understand, then there is no point of spending time. So please try to understand each and everything. If you're not able to understand here, then it would be very difficult. Okay, so this is what we define in team charters. So whenever you see a question, right, team is confused how to make a decision, go to team charter, go to ground rules, agreed ground rules. So this is a performance chart across 5 different stages. On the horizontal axis, you have all 5 stages. On the vertical axis, you have team performance. So who would like to explain this? Ramiz, could you please explain this?
Uh, yeah, this is a team charter. Uh,
Yeah,
at the beginning, it's like a forming the team,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So after that, this next stage is a storming, where
yeah.
the misalignment or conflict some happens. So it will, as a graph decide, it's going to. So you can say least productivity type. That norming, when everything is solved, it's a norming stage, right?
Okay.
And after norming, it's a performing stage where you can say where team perform maximum their limit.
Okay,
After
fantastic.
that,
Do we
it go.
have, right, thank you, Ravish. Do we have Shahadaf in our class? Shahadaf?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Shahadaf, go ahead. What's happening with this blue curve? Could you please explain?
Blue
Sh
curve. Yeah,
yeah,
it's the transition from the
yeah,
storming to the norming.
yeah. What's happening?
Uh, so once the conflicts is settled down,
Yeah,
and it will come to the normal calmness, a normal stage, and
okay.
the team member or the individual now he'll start moving to the performing stage.
Okay. How?
So this is a transition between the storming and the performing.
Yeah. So this is a transition from one stage to another, and at the same time, it shows you team performance. So you can see the performance goes down during the storming stage because of conflicts. Then in norming, it gradually starts going up. Then in performing, you have maximum performance. It's the best stage of team development. And during this stage, team members are self-organized. Self-organized when they do not need a dedicated project manager, right? When project
Yes,
manager acts as a servant leader, self-organized. This is the best stage of team development, and this happens in performing. You can see the highest performance. And the last one is adjourning when team members they complete their job and they move to the next project. So this is the performance curve based on Bruce Tuckman team development model, right? Okay. Then what we do is we can also have virtual team members. I'll be talking about Agile and Waterfall later. In virtual team members who could not have an opportunity for face-to-face interaction, who are not co-located, right? So team members rarely have face-to-face interaction. Those are called virtual team members. And there's an opposite concept that's called co-located. Are you guys co-located now? Are you
No,
guys
no,
co-located?
no,
No,
we are
you're
virtually
not
present.
co-located,
No,
right?
no, no.
You're
yeah,
virtual, right? From different
virtual.
locations. Now, virtual has some challenges and some benefits. What are the challenges of virtual teams? Don't look at the screen, just think about what are the challenges. Everybody, please write in the chat. Coordination issue, lack of clarity, um, difficult to track performance, time difference, time zone difference, absolutely. Less communication. Um, Anything else? You're missing one disruption, no direct control over the performance, internet connectivity issue, right? That we faced yesterday. So these could be network. And obviously, there are some benefits as well, right? Um, Diversity in skill set, relatively less costly, time saving, 24/7 people are available, flexibility, very important, right? Team members are self-organized. So we need to find a balance between these two. It's a trade-off. On one side, we need skill set, we need required skill set. On the other side, there are challenges as well. But with the technological innovations or advancements these days, online team or virtual team they perform equally good as compared to your co-located team. But obviously there are challenges. So what we do is, based on all these things, we form our um, uh, form team, right? Team formation is done. So project charter, project manager is hired, team is formed, and next step is identification of stakeholders. If anyone have any question regarding team formation, please feel free to ask. In team formation, we talked about three things. First type of professionals, generalist, specialist, and generalizing specialist. And then we talked about Bruce Tuckman team development model, forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. And the last thing we talked about is virtual teams. Okay. Next is stakeholders identification. If anyone has any question, please feel free to ask. Any question, please. No question? Okay. Who are stakeholders? Individual or entities who are relevant to your project. They are your stakeholders. Individuals, entities, or organizations who are relevant to your project. They could be internal, they could be external. Internal stakeholders. So, by the way, PMI defines stakeholder as any individual or entity who may impact your project, may be impacted by the outcome of your project, or perceive themselves to be impacted. All of these are your stakeholders. They have stakes in your project, and you need to engage with them, right? Why? Because some stakeholders, they provide you funding, right? Some stakeholder provide you resources. Some stakeholder provide you approval. Some stakeholder provide you support. Some stakeholder help you understand project requirements. You understand? All of these things are essential for successful completion of your project. And if you want these, you need to actively engage with your stakeholders. Active engagement is needed, right? So for active engagement, first of all, we identify them, right? So departmental head, functional head, senior management, employees, finance department, vendor, end user, regulatory agency, public, government, financial institute, competitors, media, all of these could be your potential stakeholders, right? Okay. Now, what are various techniques that we can use to identify? Interviews. You can conduct interviews. What is the need to identify stakeholder? Who would like to answer? Anyone, please. Please answer Noman's question. What's the need of identifying stakeholder?
uh, to treat them how different stakeholders
I just answered this question. Okay, anybody else? What's the need of identification of stakeholders? To know their
Sir,
roles and interests. Yeah, go ahead.
Responsibilities,
the need
understanding the
of stack
responsibility.
Yes, Zaman, go ahead.
the need of stakeholder to provide us they are the one who will provide us the funds,
Yeah,
resources,
absolutely.
uh, material, everything related to the project. That is why we
Yeah,
needed them.
absolutely. So stakeholder provides you with funding, they provide you approvals, they provide support, right? They provide you people, manpower, they help you understand project requirements. So in order to do all these things, you need to identify them, right? Without identification of stakeholders, how you can get support, funds, resources, approval requirements, right? Let's say you're building a highway. If you don't understand who are your stakeholder, how you will understand your project requirements, right? So you need to, for example, if you're building a product, if you don't identify your stakeholders who will be using that product, how you can develop the product. So stakeholders help you understand what you should be building, how you should be building, what resources you need, how you can have access to these resources. So your project success is dependent on cooperation, coordination, and collaboration with stakeholders. If you don't identify them, you're not able to do anything. Okay, so there are various ways you can identify stakeholders. You can conduct interviews, questionnaire, workshops, emails, poster advertisements, interpersonal skill, active listening, emotional intelligence, communications. All of these are different ways you can use to identify your project stakeholders. Talk to existing stakeholders, review documents, review lessons learned, interview, surveys, questionnaire, brainstorming, right? All of these are different ways where you can identify your stakeholders. Okay.
Do we
Stakeholders are
count
identified
beneficiaries as a stakeholder?
anyone who is relevant to your product. Obviously, beneficiaries are your stakeholders. Anyone who would be impacted by your product, they are your stakeholders. So
So
beneficiaries
not
would be impact. Yeah.
so how can we get in touch with the indirect beneficiaries then?
During brainstorming, right? For example, let's say if I'm going to build a highway, I will be shortlisting a group of individuals from end user or public, and I'll be talking to them. Hey, what are your usage? What's convenient for you, right? So sit together with the team, identify, brainstorm, and then talk to them, right?
Right.
You
Thank
should
you.
know who are the beneficiaries, right? If you don't know the beneficiaries, then you'll end up building the wrong product, right? So talk to them, identify them. Okay, so we in stakeholders identification and planning, we have different steps. So step number one is identify. Step two is analysis, right? Then step three is planning, right? So these are three main steps in your stakeholders engagement. So let's talk about step number one. So in step number one, you will be identifying stakeholders by developing a stakeholder register. It's a simple spreadsheet where you will be writing name, role, organization, designation, contact detail, right? Expectation, needs, power, interest, influence, current engagement, desired engagement. So this is your stakeholder register. Stakeholder register is developed during initiation stage, but we keep on updating this throughout the life of your project. This is your stakeholder register. Once you develop stakeholder register, you jump to the analysis part. Shujat, you have a question?
Yeah, just one quick question. I'm just trying to clarify my understanding. The resources which are appointed in the team for the project, those resources, the
Sorry?
T-shaped resources, the resources which we have appointed for the project, the T-shaped resources, can they
Oh,
be
yeah.
also a stakeholder, one of them the stakeholders, or these are two different entities altogether?
What do you think? What do you think?
In some cases, maybe yes, because I'm just trying to,
Are
uh,
they relevant to your project?
that's why they are appointed. Because, for example, if it's a finance project and there is a finance person assigned to you for this project, maybe he's also a stakeholder in little terms, that because something you are doing for the finance department, the person coming from the functional team, which is finance.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned this is pretty simple. Anyone who's relevant to your project, whether they are doing just one small task, anyone who is relevant to your project is your project stakeholder.
So this
Even if
means
you
that,
need, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so this means the resource, it could be a same resource who is working on your project also can be a stakeholder as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Team member, those are your stakeholder. Project manager is the stakeholder. Sponsor is the stakeholder. Everybody.
Okay.
These are your internal stakeholders.
Yeah.
Anyone who is relevant to your project is project stakeholder.
Okay.
Okay, so step number one, we identify stakeholders. Step number two, we analyze them. And in analysis, what we do, we categorize them in different categories. For that, we use PI matrix, power interest matrix. On one side, you have power. On the other side, you have interest. Power could be high or low. Interest could be high or low. Stakeholder with high power and high interest, we manage them closely. Manage closely. This category of stakeholder is called managed closely. Stakeholder with high power but low interest, we keep them satisfied. Stakeholder with high interest and low power, we keep them informed. And stakeholder with low power and low interest, we just monitor them. This is really important. You will see this in your exam. Stakeholders analysis. And analysis is done through PI matrix, power interest matrix, where we categorize stakeholders in 4 different categories, right? This is very important from exam perspective. You may expect 1 or 2 questions from this. This is two-dimensional categorization of stakeholder. Then we have three-dimensional categorization of stakeholder. This is not very important from exam perspective, but since it is part of the course, let's talk about it. In three-dimensional analysis or categorization, we have three aspects: power, interest, and influence. Influence is also called attitude. Power could be high or low, interest could be high or low, attitude could be negative or positive. Okay, so please pay attention here, everybody. On one side, we have power, on the other side, we have interest, and the third side, we have influence. The notes which I shared with you, there's a typo in the notes. High is written here, low is written here. So I have corrected it, right? So just make that correction with you. Okay. So what I do is I divide this full cube into small 8 cubes. So let's say this is one cube. So in this cube, you could say power is low, interest is also low, and influence is negative, right? You understand, everybody? Is it clear? In first cube, we have low power, low interest, and negative influence, right? So if power is low, we call it insignificant. If power is high, we call it influential. If interest is low, we call it passive. If interest is high, we call it active. If attitude is negative, we call it blocker, otherwise we call it backer. So please pay attention. This cube, power is low. What we call it? Low power. Everybody please write in the chat. Low power means everybody. Low power means okay. I have erased this blue box. Everybody please categorize stakeholders in this category, in this blue box. Everybody. This is a question for everybody. Please write in the chat what's the category of stakeholders we will be having in this blue box. Everybody. Everyone, please categorize. Okay, Chinmay, could you please do that?
Then it's an influential passive backer.
Influential, passive, backer. Okay, wonderful. Uh, Numera, why it is influential, passive, backer?
Because power is high
Okay, and
and interest is low and
okay,
influence is also high.
influence is also high. High influence means what? High
Positive.
influence means what?
Um, High influence means their um
Okay, please
Positive
pay attention,
attitude.
everybody.
yes.
Please pay attention, everybody. Let me do it once again for all of you. So I'm going to do for this particular box. So we need to look at three aspects. First, power, right? Then interest, and then influence or attitude. In this box, power is high or low?
Power is high.
Power,
Hi.
power is high, fantastic. If power is high, we call them influential stakeholders. Low power mean insignificant. So I'm going to write influential here. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Is it clear, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, from interest perspective, do we have low interest or high interest in this box?
Low interest.
No interest.
Low interest because, please pay attention. See, here we have high, here we have low. So this is the front side of that. So it's low interest. So if low interest, we call them passive. So influential, passive. Okay, tell me influence or attitude. Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive.
Positive because it's the top side of your box. And if it is positive, we call them what? Backer,
Backer.
otherwise blocker. So I'm going to write backer here. Is it clear, everybody? Any confusion about it? Anyone, please?
What is meant by this backer? The meaning?
Someone who backs your project, someone who supports your project,
Supports. Okay. 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 Thank you.
someone who is in favor of your project. Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
fantastic.
How you choose the influence as positive for this blue? Can be negative as well, right?
How it is negative?
Means how you choose the block no for this blue.
Yeah, so I
I didn't
chose
get that
blue
point.
because
Yeah.
please pay attention. Focus on this line. On the bottom side, it's negative. On the upper side, it's positive. So let's take the same one. This is positive, this is negative. So this box on the upper side, that's why it is positive and we call it backer.
Okay.
You
Okay.
understand?
Got it. Yes. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So this is three-dimensional categorization of your stakeholders.
So
We
if you
also
have the
use
time,
another,
can you please
yeah,
explain the
yeah.
the first, the green one and the blue one? Like the only difference I see is the backer and the blocker. Why the first one is blocker? Why the second one is the backer?
This one,
Yes.
so see, the top one is positive.
Yeah, I understand that.
Positive means backer. The bottom one is negative. Negative means blocker. So this
Oh, okay.
cube is on the bottom side, that's where it's blocker. This cube is on the top side, that's where it's backer.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Just a second, please. Okay. So then we have another one that's what we call salience model. Salience model is again three-dimensional categorization. So you have power, legitimacy, and urgency, three different factors. Power, legitimacy, and urgency. Power, your ability to influence. Legitimacy, how relevant you are. It's not that all stakeholders are relevant to your project, right? Sometimes it's your internal project and public has nothing to do with that. So their legitimacy is low. Sometimes you're working on a public project, public's legitimacy is very high, right? And then we have urgency. Urgency is from time perspective, right? Urgency means from time perspective, how urgent it is to respond to stakeholder. So what we develop is we develop a salience model, and in salience model we develop a Venn diagram. So you have power, you have legitimacy, and you have urgency here. Power, legitimacy, and urgency. Okay, you see in this Venn diagram, this section is where all the stakeholders are powerful, they are legitimate, and they are urgent as well. This is the most critical section or portion of your stakeholder, right? This is also called core, right? Core stakeholders. These are your core stakeholders. And core, they are also called definitive stakeholders, right? They're called definitive stakeholders. These are really important part of your stakeholders. And then we have other names as well. For example, if we have powerful stakeholders and legitimate, we call them dominant. You need not to memorize this for your exam. This is just to help you understand how we categorize stakeholders in 7 different categories. So if we have all three, we call them definitive. If we have just power and legitimacy, no urgency, we call them dominant. If we have urgent and legitimacy, we call them dependent. If we have powerful and urgent, we call them dangerous. If we have only power, we call them dormant, only legitimacy, discretionary, only urgency, demanding. This is how we categorize stakeholders in 7 different categories. From exam perspective, what you need to understand is salience model. From exam perspective, salience model is a stakeholders categorization model where we categorize stakeholders in on the basis of 3 parameters: power, legitimacy, and urgency. That's it. Nothing else. I have drawn this to explain you how it actually works. But from exam perspective, you need not to memorize this. Is it clear, everybody? What you need to understand? Salience model has 3 parameters: power, legitimacy, and urgency. Okay, let me ask a few questions. Uh, okay. Avas, what is meant by legitimacy? Avas, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
What is meant by legitimacy?
Uh, and this is, mm,
Okay. Munib, what is legitimacy?
Relevancy to the project, how relevant they are to the
Okay.
project.
Okay. Answer, what is legitimacy? Answer, what is legitimacy? Okay, Shahadaf. Okay, Rasat, what is legitimacy?
Uh,
Rasat, what is legitimacy?
ye- yes, sir. Legitimacy. I have no idea, sir. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Zaman, what is
Conformity to the
legitimacy?
Sir, we can say that a stakeholder that is relevant to your project.
Yeah. Yeah, it's level of relevance, right? Legitimacy could be high, could be low, right? A stakeholder who is highly relevant to your project, they have high legitimacy. So please pay attention. So this is your stakeholder salience model or 3-dimensional model. And then we have this categorization as well: upward, downward, and sideward and outward. Upward, your bosses; downwards, your subordinates; sidewards, your colleagues; outwards, your external stakeholders. Munib, you have a question?
Yes, sir. How will we identify that which model should we use to identify our stakeholders?
Yeah, it depends on your project management maturity level of the organization. If you're just starting implementing project management framework, you will be doing with 2-dimensional categorization. And
Okay.
it also depends on the complexity level of and the number of stakeholders. If you have huge number of stakeholders, right, you can use 3-dimensional categorization. So it all depends on the maturity level and size and scale of your project. Munib, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Fantastic. Then we have engagement planning. So we have identified, we have analyzed, now we need to plan it. And for plan it, we develop 2 plans: stakeholders engagement plan and communications management plan. Remember, everybody, we develop these plans during the planning stage of your project. I'm discussing here because I have clubbed the stakeholder topic and I want to teach the entire product now, entire topic now. But these plans, as the name indicates, these are developed during the planning stage of your product. Right now, we're talking about the initiation stage, right? So do not confuse it. Okay. So we developed two different types of plans. One is stakeholders engagement plan, and second is communications management plan. Munib, you have a question?
No, sir, my bad. It was from the previous question.
Okay. One is stakeholders engagement plan, and second is communications management plan. Now, these two terminologies, they look similar, but they have different meaning. Engagement versus communication. Communication is how to communicate. What method of communication should be used, right? And engagement means how to engage. For example, let's talk about this class. If I talk about communication, like which medium we should be using, we are using Zoom for that. So Zoom is part of communication. You understand? Does it make sense? Which application I'm using to write, right? I'm using, let's say, GoodNotes. This is communication. In which format I need to present information to you. That's also communication. Now, what is engagement? Engagement is I'm asking questions. For example, Sahal, what is this? Could you please explain this? This is my engagement strategy. Developing diagrams to make the information easier. This is also my engagement strategy. Let's say I put all of you in a DR discussion room or breakout room. That's also my engagement strategy. So asking questions and all these things, these are part of engagement. I hope you understand the difference between communication and engagement. You understand? Communication is how to communicate, how to share information, how to transmit information, right? And engagement is how to involve you guys in the discussion, how to make sure that you understand whatever we are discussing. So these are two different things, right? For example, let's say I'm saying we will be having class next Saturday. What is this? Is it communication or engagement? We'll have
Engagement.
break after 3 minutes.
It's communication.
Communication.
It's communication, right? I'm just saying we will have a class, right? I'm communicating class timing, when we will be communicating. We're not talking about engagement here, right? Let's say I'm saying we will be using Google Meet for next week in class. What is this?
Engagement, sir.
It's communication. I'm talking about communication platform, right? It's again
No.
communication. Okay. Let's say I'm saying I'll be presenting I'll be presenting next lecture on a PowerPoint instead of writing. What is this?
This is will be also
Engagement,
communication.
This is
sir.
No, this
again
is engagement.
communication. This is again communication. How I will be communicating, how I will be presenting information, right? So when we talk about communication method, communication format, communication frequency, all these are communications. You understand? Does it make sense? And
Yes.
during class, I'm asking you questions. I'm inviting you to interact, right? I'm sharing experiences. I'm giving examples. That's what we call engagement. Now let's move to projects. Okay. Working on a product vision box exercise to define product vision with the stakeholder. What is this?
Engagement.
It's an
It's
engagement.
engagement. It's engagement. I'm engaging them, right? Sending a weekly progress report.
Communication.
It's
Communication.
Communication.
communication, right? So you should understand. So we developed two different plans. One is engagement plan, how to engage. Second is communication plan, how to communicate things. Okay, in communication methods, there are three communication methods. push communication, pull communication, and interactive. Three methods: push, pull, and interactive. Push is when sender pushes a message towards recipient. Let's say I send you an email, right? I sent an email and you received it. I pushed information towards you. This is push communication, right? Then we have pull communication. Pull is when I upload information on the platform and you access it. Okay, tell me my first email to you. Okay, welcome to the course, and these are your login details. What's that?
Push.
What's that? Push.
Push.
Okay, similar to this, let's say that email has detail about the LMS. What is LMS? Push or pull?
Push.
The platform.
What is
Pull,
LMS? Push or pull?
pull.
It's pull. It's not push. Information is placed on the platform. You can visit it whenever you want, and you can pull or extract information. You can download information. So that's pull. Placing information on a platform, right? It's called pull information. Okay. Let's say I ask you, okay, download exam content outline from PMI website. What is this?
Pull.
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 It's pull, right? It's pull. So SharePoint, website, bulletin board, dashboard, whiteboard, all of these are examples of pull communications. And then we have interactive. Interactive is face to face. What is this information that we're having right now? Is it pull or push?
It's interactive.
It's
Interactive.
interactive, right? Real-time communication. Real-time could be face to face, could be online, right? Audio, video conferencing. Okay, what about I sent you a message. What's that?
It's a
Push.
push.
That's a
Okay,
push.
Push.
okay. And let's say we are having chat. What's that?
Interactive.
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 It's interactive, real time, right? All of you are sending information in the chat and I'm receiving it. It's interactive, real time communication, information that's happening real time when there is no wait between when you send and when the other person sees that information. So, chat is or instant messaging is interactive communication. So, these are what's the best form of communication? What's the best
Interactive.
method? Interactive is
Interactive.
best method, right?
Interactive.
Interactive is best method. And then pull and then push. Okay, so these are different communication methods. Then we have different communication models. We have simple model and interactive model. In simple model, what we have is we have a sender. Please pay attention, everybody. Then we have a recipient. Sender sends a message towards recipient and receiver sends an acknowledgement. This is called simple communication model. Let's say I send you information. Hi, welcome to the course. These are your login. And in response, you say, thank you, I have received it. This is what we call basic communication model. Everybody, please keep yourself on mute. Okay. When we communicate, when we transmit information, we see different type of noise, right? Noise is anything, noise is anything that hinders effective communication. Noise is anything that hinders effective communication. Could you please give me some example of communication noises?
Microphone interference.
Okay. Noise is anything that hinders communication, right? Internet, distractions. What else? Signal,
Languages.
language barrier, perfect. Anything else?
Internet
Any,
technical issues.
yeah, anything else?
Too much information.
Fantastic. Too much information. That's also a noise.
Sorry.
Less information is also a noise, right? Too much, too less, insufficient information, language, untimely information, right? Let's say I tell you something, how to write the exam after you take the exam. That's ineffective. There is no point of sharing that information. Untimely information, cultural barriers, understanding, right? Mindset, personality differences, personal differences. All of these are examples of noises. Okay, we can make this simple model into an interactive model by adding a feedback loop. Now, what is a feedback loop? In a feedback loop, you're not just saying, I have received the information. You're telling me what you have received and what's your understanding. Am I audible, everybody? Can you hear me? In interactive
Yes.
communication,
Yeah, we can hear you.
in, in interactive communication, you're telling me what you have received and what's your understanding, right? How? By writing summary of the message. Let's say I send you something and you say, hey, Ammar, I have received your memo. I have received your letter. I have received this, right? And what I have received is this. This is my understanding. I believe that you want me to write um, an assignment on this, and I will do that tomorrow. So you are not just acknowledging, right? What you're doing is you're sending me what you have understood. By saying that back to me or asking what is your understanding of the next steps, yeah, I'm sending you something and you're sharing your understanding of that. The idea of interactive communication model is that the recipient has understood the information. In basic communication model, what's the purpose? You have received the information. In interactive, my focus is you have not just received, you have understood it. So when we have complex information where there is a high chance of miscommunication, what we do is we add interactive communication model. Is it clear, everybody? Okay. Then we have communication channels. Channels, lines of communication. If two persons are talking to each other, we have just one line. If three persons are talking to each other, we have three lines. If four persons are talking to each other, we have five lines. So there's a formula to calculate communication channels. N into n minus 1 divided by 2. Okay, tell me if you have you are the project manager and you have 12 team members who reports to you. How many communication channels you have? Everybody, please calculate quickly. You are the PM and 12 team members report to you. How many communication channels you have?
$61.
Okay,
Seven.
61 or 66? N into n minus 1 divided by 2. N is 13. 13 minus 1 divided by 2. So
78.
13 into 12 divided by 2.
66.
13 into 6. What is the answer?
78.
78. Right? So 78 is the right answer. Okay. Why? Because 1 is PM, 12 team members, so total 13. So
Oh,
13 into 13 minus 1 divided by 2, 13 into 12 divided 6, 78 is the right answer. Okay, I hope it is clear. Communication channels tells you the complexity of communication system. Then communication modes. Communication could be written, it could be verbal, it could be non-verbal, right? PMI says that 70 to 80% of contribution in your communication is because of non-verbal communication. And what is non-verbal? Anyone, please? Everybody, please write in the chat. What is non-verbal communication? What is non-verbal communication? Action. Action is non-verbal, okay? Written is
Analytics,
written is not nonverbal.
analytics,
Nonverbal is your gestures, body language, tone, pitch of your voice, behavior, how attentive you are. This is nonverbal. Your eye contact, your action and reaction, right? Your tone, yes, these are your nonverbal communication. So 70 to 80% contribution is of your body language, right? Even you know everything, right? So it's a recent example that we were hiring a general manager for a position, very intelligent man, super intelligent, very good experience in the past with good companies. When we interviewed, he was not able to present himself. He knew his stuff, but he was not able to speak or communicate properly, right? He was not, and the fundamental reason was that he didn't look confident. So, for example, we asked him a question, okay, what if client says that I need this project in 30 days when in actual the project require 50 days, what you would be doing? He said, I'll try to complete the project in 30 days, right? He was not confident. He was not uh, trained to say no. He was not able to handle pressure, or maybe he was, but he was not able to present it. So your body language, your confidence, your tone, your pitch is really, really important. And while he was saying that, his tone was very low. He looked like he didn't have any confidence. He was like, I'll try to complete it in 30 days, right? So one should be very upfront, loud, clear. That shows confidence, okay? So non-verbal is really, really important part of your communication. Okay. So by adding all these things, what we do is, yes, absolutely dressing. That's right. How you present yourself. That's also non-verbal communication, how you present yourself. Okay. We develop stakeholders engagement plan and communications management plan. And we also develop stakeholders engagement assessment matrix. Very important from exam perspective. You can expect one or two questions in your exam from this. As the name indicates, Jen, please go ahead.
This stakeholder engagement assessment matrix, is that something inside the stakeholder engagement plan or inside the
No,
communication plan?
it's a separate document. It's a tracking tool. It's a tool or it's a document. It's a simple spreadsheet that is used to track the status of engagement with the stakeholders. Right? So, for example, let's say I develop this at the start of the class and I say, Jen is one of the stakeholders, right? Bertu is another stakeholder. Numera is another stakeholder. Shahadaf is another. And I write what's their current engagement level. So, current engagement level is like, let's say, not very actively engaged in the class, just giving an example. And then after the break, I measure again what's now. And then what I want, desired. Desired is everybody should be participating, right? Right? Not like when I ask question and you're like, what? I didn't listen that. Okay. So I document current engagement level and then I document desired engagement level. So let's say I'm working on a public project and I want to document government's current engagement level. Let's say government is not aware of my product. So I'm writing CEL under unaware. So current engagement level of government is unaware, but I want government to be supportive. So this is my desired engagement level. So whenever we have a gap between current and desired, I need to come up with a strategy. And then after some time, I measure it again and to see if they have moved from current to desired. When current and desire are in the same column, means I need not to do anything. Okay, is it clear? So this matrix is used to assess engagement level of stakeholders. This is developed during the planning stage, and we keep on reviewing it, revising it during monitoring and controlling throughout the life of project. This is stakeholders engagement assessment matrix. That's all. With this, we are done with identification of stakeholders. We're still talking about lesson number 2. And in lesson number 2, we talked about 3 sections. First, we talked about develop product charter, then team formation, and the third thing that we discuss, identify stakeholder. The last thing that we do is we select the right methodology for your project. If anyone has any questions so far, please feel free to ask. Any question, please.
Yeah, how we will fill the gap from the current to decide?
Inviting them over the lunch, feed them. Just giving an example. Just kidding. Like there are various strategies, right? There are various strategies. Let's say if a stakeholder is not engaged, government is not aware. So first of all, you will be sending a formal information. Hey, we are starting this project. This is really important. This is helpful for people. So you moved them from unaware to neutral, right? Then you invite them in a meeting and you tell them, okay, what support they can offer to you. Then you converted them from neutral to supportive. So there are various methodologies you can use, right? You need to communicate with them. You need to invite them. You need to sit with them. You need to present benefit of your project. So these are different strategies that you can use. Jen, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
If I say this correctly, in the stakeholder identification section, we have different supporting theories or ideas. We just talked about them, different types, different communication models, channels, modes, and that there's 5 outputs: a stakeholder register, like 5 documents,
Yeah.
I should say, stakeholder, analyze stakeholders.
No, that's not a document. That's just a process. So output is stakeholder register. Second is
Yeah.
stakeholders engagement plan, then communications
Yeah.
management plan, and then stakeholder engagement assessment matrix. 4 outputs.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right. Then we select the right methodology for your project. Primarily, we have 2 methodologies. One is waterfall and second is agile. Waterfall, it's also called linear, sequential, traditional, plan-driven, predictive, right? Upfront planning. Agile is adaptive. It is modern. It is also called value-driven. It is also called change-driven. It is also called iterative or incremental. These are different names of agile methodology, right? Okay. So let's first talk about linear project management or waterfall project management. Fundamental difference between waterfall and agile. Please pay attention. I'm explaining this uh, in very precise and simplified manner. The fundamental difference between waterfall and agile is that in waterfall, you do upfront planning. Upfront planning means you complete planning before execution. That's what we call waterfall. Planning before execution. So before you start execution of your project, most of the planning work is done. Let's say 90% of the planning work is done. That's what we call waterfall approach. And agile, when you do just enough planning, right? Just enough planning means, let's say 5% of the project is planned, 10% of the project is planned, right? That and once you complete 5%, then you plan for next 5%. Then you complete that, then you complete for next 5%. So you move in waves. This is called rolling wave planning. I hope you understand the fundamental difference between these two. If you are completing your planning before execution, that's waterfall. If you're doing it in chunks and pieces, that's what we call agile methodology. And why do we do that? One basic reason. When scope of work is well defined, when you exactly know what you're going to do, that's what we call waterfall. You plan ahead of execution. When you don't know what exactly you're going to do, then you go for agile methodology. Okay, to conduct this course, which methodology we used?
What form?
Waterfall.
Waterfall. We
Waterfall.
know the course content. We know how much time it will take. We know how many classes we need. We planned everything at the start, right? Before we started the class, you had all the 50, you have had 15-day study plan. First live class, then Monday to Friday, 5 mock tests, then live class, then Monday to Friday mock test, then last full mock test, right? We know the scope, schedule, and each and the resources, everything, right? So this is what we call waterfall methodology. And let's say if we don't know anything, right, then it would be agile.
Sure.
Learning from your experience. Plan a little bit, then learn from your experience and adapt. That's why it is called adaptive. That's what is called change driven, right? So these are two methodologies. So you see, first is linear planning, initiation. You complete most of your planning before execution. This is called upfront planning. And it's linear in nature. Planning, then execution, then you keep on moving forward. You don't come back, right? You don't come back. It's linear that moves forward. That's why we call it waterfall. Have you seen a waterfall? A drop of water that comes from top, it doesn't go back. It keeps moving forward. That's why we call it waterfall, like a waterfall. If a drop of water comes down, it doesn't go back. Right? Have you seen a drop of water going back? Means there is no loop, there is no repetition, there is no iteration, there is no cycle. It's linear in nature. It just goes forward. It doesn't go backward. If you complete of a part of a project and it goes forward, it doesn't come back to redo it. That's what we call waterfall. Just a second, please. Waterfall. In Agile, what you do is, please pay attention. You have inception, you have construction, you have transition. Instead of planning for the entire project once, you move in waves. You plan for a little bit of your project, then you execute it, then you move to the next wave or next cycle, then next cycle, then next cycle, right? And we call these cycle sprints or iterations. That's why it is called iterative development. You do iterations. You plan a little bit, do it, then you redo it. And also, it's cyclical in nature. It's not linear. Something that you have done, it may go back to you so that you redo it because you learn from your experience. You do a little bit, show it to customer, get it back, redo it. That's why it's non-linear approach. And this is what we call agile. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes.
Uh,
Any
do
confusion between what?
yes, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, are we doing high level planning in Agile?
Yeah, high level planning. But for this wave, we are doing detailed planning, not just high level planning. For the first part, we are doing detailed planning. Okay.
Sir, I think at this point we need micro level planning because in Agile the scope is not clear. We need to consider more parameters in Agile rather than high level planning.
No, if scope is not clear, then you can't do micro level planning. So your statement is self-contradictory. On one side, you're saying we don't have enough information. On the other side, you're saying we are doing detailed planning. So how
Mm,
you can do that? If you don't have information, how you can do detailed planning?
mm,
So you
mm.
do just enough planning based on the available
Okay.
information. Okay, Jen, go ahead, please.
That sounds really silly, but I just got to say it out loud. So everything we've covered so far today in the planning, the charter, the information, stakeholder identification, all the way up to this point is the same regardless of the two methodologies. And at this point, our
That,
methodologies start changing.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Till now, everything is same. You need a project manager, you need a team, right? And you need to select the right methodology for you.
Mission statement, team charter, all of that
Yeah,
stuff's the same.
everything is same. Yes, they are for all the approaches. Clear? Okay, perfect. Right. One more thing, let me explain to you. This is your triple constraint triangle. Triple constraint. In product management, we have three constraints: scope, time, and budget. In waterfall, we fix the scope, and based on fixed scope, we estimate how much budget and how much time we need, right? We fix the scope, and based on that, we estimate how much time and budget we need. In Agile, it is exactly opposite. In Agile, we fix the cost, fix the time, and we estimate how much work we can do. Who would like to answer? If in Agile, we don't have fixed scope, how we can fix time and cost? Anyone, please?
By having this, that how much time you have and how much budget you have to consume, in that limitation you define and or you select the scope of work. For example, there's a big project of software development, so you know that you have only 40 hours a week and you have
Mhm.
only $100 as a budget, so you can only do the limited kind of work, and you need to prioritize from the list of milestones or activities that what should be done first.
Okay, right. Thank you, Shujat. Anybody else? How you can fix budget in Agile when you don't know your project scope? Aftab?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, please answer.
Yeah, in Agile, since we don't have fixed scope, so we estimate time and cost based on sprints or iterations and their duration, and then cost based on resources being used and their time utilization.
Okay, right. Let me answer to all of you. In Agile, we do not fix time and budget for the entire project. We fix time and budget for one development cycle. Let me go back. Means we fix time and budget for this one. Let's say we say this is for 2 weeks. Two people would be working. So we fix time and we fix resources. As a result of that, cost is fixed. Once these things are fixed, we estimate how much work we can deliver. Does it make sense, everybody? Like this class, we fixed the time, right? We fix the resources, and then we see how much work we can cover in 4 hours class. So fix the time, right? And estimate how much work you can do. This is what we call Agile. In Agile, we have inverted triangle, but this is for one development cycle, not for the overall project. So this is again to help you understand the difference between waterfall and Agile. Okay. On which basis we select which methodology we should be using, waterfall or Agile? Primarily, project scope. If project scope is well defined, waterfall. If project scope is volatile or uncertain, it's Agile. One primary factor on which we define or select the right methodology is your nature of your scope. If scope is well defined, it would be waterfall. Otherwise, it would be Agile. Is it clear, everybody? Okay.
Yes.
Now, to add a little bit detail on it, we divide work in two different categories: industrial work and knowledge work. Right? Projects are divided in two different categories: industrial and knowledge. Industrial is tangible, physical, Knowledge is intangible. Construction of a highway. What is this? Construction of a highway. What is this?
Intangible.
Tangible.
Waterfall.
It's tangible, right? It's physical. Building a software. What is this?
Intangible.
Agile.
Intangible.
Intangible.
Intangible. It's knowledge work. Now, the nature of tangible work is that you can define it by nature. The physical thing, you can see it, you can define it. It's easier to define. On the other hand, knowledge work is difficult to define. Something that you cannot see, something that you cannot touch, it's difficult to define that. Since industrial work is tangible, it's definable, right? If you define it, if you define the scope, means you can do upfront planning. If the work is defined, you can do planning. Does it make sense, everybody? And if you can do planning, it means it's waterfall. So for industrial project, we do waterfall. And for knowledge work, we do agile, right? Because in agile, we can't do upfront planning. We do rolling wave planning, right? And also, who would like to answer in which approach we have higher cost of change, waterfall or agile?
Waterfall.
Where do we have high?
What?
Why
Waterfall.
waterfall? Why?
Waterfall.
Why?
Because scope is already defined and you're already committed to the resources and budgets and everything. So if you go back and make some changes, that may impact in terms of time and cost both.
Okay. And also one more thing. In waterfall, we have industrial work, we have tangible work, we have physical work. It's difficult to change the physical work as compared to changing the knowledge work. Let's say I have written something on this board. It's very easy to erase it and rewrite it versus erasing a building and building a new one. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So industrial work has a high cost of change. If it has a high cost of change, would you love changes
No.
or would you hate changes? You would hate changes, right? Because there's a high
Yeah.
cost of change. It will take more time and more cost. So naturally, we resist change in industrial work. If we want to resist change, which approach we need? Fixed, rigid, or flexible?
Fixed. Waterfall.
Fixed.
Yeah, we need to be rigid because we want to resist changes. And that rigid approach is waterfall. On the other hand, in agile, changes are easier to make. Changes can be incorporated without incurring substantial cost. Cost is less, benefit is high. So we will be encouraging changes. In order to encourage change, we need to be very flexible, and that flexible approach is called agile. So I hope you understand when we should be using waterfall and when we should be using agile. Just remember for industrial projects, we usually go for waterfall. For knowledge work, we go for agile. Construction industry, it's industrial work. IT software, it's knowledge work. So we use agile in IT and we use waterfall in construction. Sometimes we need to use both. When part of your project is known and part of project is unknown, we use combination of both, and that's what we call hybrid methodology. Hybrid is combination of both. When some part of project is known, well-defined, and another part of project is uncertain, we use waterfall for the known part and agile for the unknown part. And that collectively we call it hybrid project management. Zaman, go ahead. You have a question?
Yes, sir, I have a question. Like I want to address a problem during my project. We have a fixed uh, scope of work. Okay. The meanwhile, client came to the site and he added more work on the site. This will
Mhm.
be the construction. This will be considered in the industrial work. So this will
Yeah.
be waterfall or agile.
This is waterfall because I said when I was explaining upfront planning, I intentionally used work 90%. most of
Yes.
the planning. I didn't say 100% of the planning because whatever you define, still there is a room for uncertainty. When you do most of your planning work, 90% of planning, and still there are some changes, still it is waterfall, okay? Because you have done most of your planning work. So in construction work, if client comes and asks for any changes, it's still waterfall because you have planned most of your project, right? On the other hand, if you have just planned a tiny part of your project and you leave major part unplanned, that's what we call agile. So by just having one or a few changes would not make a methodology agile. For something to be agile, there should be little planning, there should be repetition and iteration. So if there are no iterations, it's linear, it's still waterfall. Is it clear, Zaman?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Fantastic. Within Agile, we have different methodologies. We have Scrum, we have test-driven development, feature-driven development, extreme programming, Crystal, Kanban, Scrum of Scrum, Disciplined Agile, TSTM. These are different methodologies under Agile umbrella. In this course, our core focus would be on Scrum. In this course, we will be talking about Scrum. We would not be talking about TDD, FTD, XP, Crystal, Kanban, and all these. We will be having a little conversation about Kanban. Okay. This discussion is for next topic, but let's complete it here. Within Agile, and Agile is also called adaptive. Agile is also called adaptive. What's the other
Adaptive.
name of waterfall? What's the
Rigid.
other name of waterfall?
Linear?
If Agile
Linear.
is called adaptive, what's a similar name for waterfall?
It's written over there, predictive.
Predictive.
Predictive. Fantastic. Yes, predictive. Right? So Agile is divided in two main categories, incremental and iterative. So waterfall is predictive and Agile is incremental. Let's talk about predictive. You see, predictive is linear. You complete feasibility, then you design, then you build, test, deploy, close. This is your predictive or linear methodology for fixed requirements. Then we have adaptive or agile. In agile, what we're doing is we set the initial vision, then iteration one, we seek feedback, then we redo it. So it's non-linear, it's iterative in nature, right? So see, you have initial vision, you develop, you seek feedback, and you see a back loop here. It's not linear, it doesn't take you forward. It's a loop. That's why it's non-linear. This is also an illustration to show you what's the difference between waterfall and agile. Who would like to explain? What do you understand from these two? Anyone who has not spoken yet? I can see Avas, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Could you please explain what's the difference between these two images, these two diagrams?
Yeah, the first one is, it's linear, and the second one is, with this like agile process, with looping to each other.
Okay, I need more explanation. How first is linear? Where it is showing the first one is linear.
Mm, uh, because it is dragging in one direction.
Okay, right.
Mm,
It's dragging in one direction. And what about the other one? Is he dragging in multiple directions?
not,
Then how?
I think
Okay,
first one is
answer.
agile. It's reconnecting with each, circle wise.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for trying. Thank you so much. Answer, am I audible?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, answer, go ahead. What's your understanding of
So
these two images?
In linear, we know how much we need to carry. The
Yeah.
other one, we don't know what is the total load. It may increase in future.
Okay, but apparently it looks like you know the load in both.
Mm.
You know how much
No,
is in the first.
in
Yeah.
in second one, it may change. It may increase in future. You cannot say what is the total load in the beginning.
But if you look at this image, you know everything that is in front of you. You know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Or we
11,
can
12, 13,
say,
14,
or
15, 16.
we
Yeah.
are doing one by one, not all together.
Yes, absolutely. That's the fundamental difference. In waterfall, you plan for the entire project and you take it forward. In Agile, you break it down in small waves. That's what we discussed, right? If you connect with this waterfall, planning for the entire project. In Agile, breaking into pieces and go piece by piece, right? So I hope you understand the difference between these two. Okay, now I want to explain the difference between iterative and incremental. Please pay attention, everybody. In Agile, we have two approaches, iterative and incremental. Okay, what is the difference between these two? What do you see? What's happening here? In this and in this, what is the difference? What's happening here?
In
Try
iterative,
everybody.
we have image means we have goals, but it's not clear.
Yeah,
We don't know how to deal with present. Means it's not clear. We know what to produce, but we don't have clarity in that.
okay. Anybody else?
I think in iterative we say that we know the scope of work, but we want to do it in batches. But in
Okay,
incremental, we know the small scope of works, and we just combine those to next and then next and to the next. So, for example,
okay.
in the first diagram, it's showing it's a structure of a human being as a gray.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
you
that's good.
colored the head, and then you colored the foot, and then you colored the body as well. So
So
you
you're
know the
saying here we
overall
are
picture, but yeah, defining it.
refinement, right? You know the
Yes,
structure and then you keep on refining the structure. Does it make
correct.
sense?
Yes,
In
And in this,
incremental, what's happening? You have the top body head, then you add upper body, then you add lower body. So you're not refining, you're adding more features. In first one, you are refining, you are improving the quality. In second one, addition. Adding features after feature is called incremental. Refining existing feature is called iterative. Now let me ask you a question. Mobile phone development. Every year, big companies, tech companies, they launch new models of their phones. What is this? Launching a new phone. What is this?
Iterative.
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 Is it incremental or iterative? Okay.
Iterative.
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 Why it is iterative? Why it is iterative?
Because
It's
the
just enhancing
font
the
doesn't
Ramesh,
phone.
why
change.
it
actually
is
same.
iterative? One
Actually,
second.
Building their
One
application.
one by one. One by one. One by one. Have patience,
in,
please. Ramesh, go ahead.
yeah. In phone we have basic feature like a calling camera, etc. Every year,
Okay,
same
okay,
thing is
right.
coming. Everything is same
Well,
things is coming, but in a better way.
hmm
The
okay,
camera enhanced
refinement.
pixels.
Okay. I earned $2, so Ramesh, please transfer me right after the class, okay?
So
Let me go to somebody else. Let me earn $2 from Burhan as well. Burhan, go ahead, please. You were saying something.
Yeah, it was iterative. When iterative, you are
Okay.
you're
Okay, $4. Anybody else? Mobile phone development is what? Let me ask everybody. Sahal, go ahead, please.
No,
$6.
rather than refining the existing features, we are adding the features as well, right?
Okay, so 4 - 1 3, still I earn $3 if I give you $1. Absolutely. We are refining the existing one, but we are adding new one. Every
Yes.
time they launch a
Yes.
new phone, they add new features, right?
Yeah, that's why
Some
they're updating
AI,
it.
yeah, it means they are adding new features. So adding new feature is incremental. Addition of
Improve it.
new features is incremental,
What, how
right?
do you call it improvement? Like they're improving their product.
No, see, what we call improvement, let's say the first camera was 2 megapixels. In next phone, the same camera is 4 megapixels. This is what we call improvement. No additional feature, but improving the existing one. But
Mm-hmm.
with camera, let's say they have added some blood pressure measurement sensor. Now, this is addition of feature. This is called incremental. So mobile phone development is neither iterative nor incremental. It's combination of both. So we call it adaptive. Every year when they launch a new phone, previous features are improved and refined and new features are added. You understand? Does it make sense?
Thank you so much. Yes,
So
completely.
this is what we call adaptive. Okay. Right. I hope it is you're clear. In the first one, we are not adding any new feature. We are just refining the existing one. That's what we call iterative. In the second one, we are adding new features. That's what we call incremental. Combination of both is called. Okay. In Agile, what we do is there's a concept of minimum viable product, MVP. Nomera, you have a question?
Yes. I want to ask when we are going to apply these methodologies in planning or in execution, means to get the feedback from the customers, and then, as you said,
In
that.
Agile, planning, execution, and monitoring happen simultaneously. So it's not that first planning, then execution. They happen simultaneously. That's why if I go back, if you see here, please pay attention, everybody. In waterfall, you have green color here, which is planning, then execution. In Agile, green and blue are happening simultaneously. So planning and execution happen simultaneously in Agile. No matter, is it clear?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Then there's a concept of minimum viable product. In Agile, in Waterfall, what we do, we deliver the entire product at the end of the project, right? You complete a house. Once it is fully furnished, you hand over it to the customer. It's not like that. You complete a bedroom first, then you start working on kitchen and customer is sleeping in the bedroom. No, right? You complete everything and then you deliver it to the customer. In Agile, we don't do that. In Agile, customer can sleep in the bedroom while you're working on kitchen and other areas. That's the benefit of Agile. Agile is all about delivering value to the customer as soon as possible. So what we do, we divide the project in pieces, in chunks. We deliver the first essential piece as soon as it is developed so that customer starts using it, and then we move to the next one. So while we are building the second one, customer is using the first one. Now that first feature is called minimum viable product. In these two images, I have explained the difference between minimum viable product. Who would like to explain? What's the difference?
Can I explain?
Yeah, please go ahead. What's the difference?
So minimum viable product is something which is a working model. It is actually you can say the working prototype with the minimum feature sets. So in the first
Okay.
picture, you are saying that you have created a tire, but tire is not usable by the customers or the client. But in the second picture, the first minimum viable product is a skateboard, so that a person can actually use this skateboard and they can experience it. And then they evolve it with the flag and with the cycle and so on and so on. So minimum viable product is something which presents some usable features, and then you build on to the next feature sets as well.
You are getting something, but it's not usable. You cannot use it. There is no benefit of a wheel, right? Even this is not beneficial. Even this is not beneficial. This is beneficial. This is waterfall. Useful product you receive at the end of project. In Agile, what we do is we deliver something that is usable for the customer. So we deliver a skateboard so that they start getting benefit. While they're using it, we add more functionality, we refine it, and then we get the last thing that customer is looking for. This product, this increment with minimum or basic set of functionality, this is called minimum viable product, MVP. What's the advantage of MVP? Customer can use it.
That's it.
Customer can get benefit from it, right? Let's say if a vendor comes to you and they say, hey, you have 12 features and I will be delivering all 12 features of your product complete in all aspects in 20 months. 100% of product complete in all aspects in 20 months. And there is another vendor, they come and they say, okay, you have 12 features. So what I'm going to do is after 2 months, I'll be delivering first two features. Then after 2 months, I'll be adding more feature. Which approach you will be going for? The first one where you will be getting comprehensive, complete product. Or the second one where you will be getting incomplete product. Which one you would be preferring? Partial or complete?
Depend on the scenario, the requirement.
Okay. How?
If he need to start using the is something like softwares, ERPs, accounting softwares, if something initial they can work, and the remaining the developer he can develop step by step, so he can at the final he can have all the features.
Anybody else? Let's say we're talking about software. Which approach you would be preferring?
Basically, for the software, we can take the example of an Apple iPhone Siri, the Apple Intelligence. So they didn't give us the whole Apple Intelligence one. They are giving us the updates in the
Just a
small
second,
beta
please.
version.
Waleed, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So the Apple Intelligence currently updating every time, like after 2 or 3 months. So they didn't give us the whole complete one because they are updating based on the customer
Yeah.
feedbacks. So once we get the company is getting the feedback from the customer, like we can't have this one, the Siri one. We need to add ChatGPT, or we need to add more DeepSeek or ChatGPT features. So they're updating every time. So it's benefit for the customer and the company too.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting access to products sooner is advantageous. That's the benefit of MVP. Jen, you have a question?
Yes. Okay, so if I go to the skateboard as a tangible example, am I saying we're going to give you a skateboard so we
Yeah.
have time to work on your car? Or are we
No,
saying,
no. Customer comes to you and say, hey, I need to move from point A to point B, right? And tell me what's the efficient way to do that. So you start working on it and you talk to customer, you understand their initial requirement, and you say skateboard could be one of the options, right? Let's build it. And you build it, customer starts using it, and customer say, yeah, it's good, but I'm not having good control on it. You get the feedback, then you add a handle on it, or maybe speed control or something, and then you deliver it again. Then customer, you can say, I like it, but it's pretty hectic to stand for, let's say, 1 hour and do that. Can you please make it more convenient? Then you convert it into bicycle based on their feedback. And then they say it's good, but it consumes a lot of effort. Can you please make it some automatic? Can you please add a motor to make it faster? Then you add one more functional. So it's a continuous refinement based on customer feedback. At the start, you don't know you need a car. At the start, customer doesn't need they need don't know they need a car. It's you learn through feedback. When customer starts using the product, they give you feedback, and based on the feedback, you keep on improving it. So it's improvement through learning. Jen, is it clear? Does it make sense?
It does. I think I need to, maybe it'll happen next. It's just how we, the tangible part of taking that feedback, incorporating it in.
Yeah.
But I will wait
Yeah.
for that.
No, you will be incorporating feedback when customer starts using it. You get feedback, you incorporate it, you improve it, you deliver it again, customer use it again. While customer is using, you're focusing on development or adding more functionality refinement. So it's the refinement is based on customer feedback. It's a continuous process until customer is satisfied, right?
I think I'm trying to piece it to like the next part, like when we talk about like user stories.
Yeah, absolutely right.
That's the part that I'm
Pe-
still hazy about, but I'm gonna maybe be patient and wait.
That's right, absolutely. Jen, is it clear?
So far, yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so this is the concept of MVP. The last thing is the Stacy complexity model. Stacy complexity model categorizes situations in four different categories. On the one side, you have technical capabilities. On the other side, you have requirements. The projects where technical capability is certain and requirements are agreed, that's called a simple dynamic. If it is medium, we call it complicated. If we call it high, that's called complex. If we have very high, that's called chaotic situation. This is just categorizing your project in four different categories: simple projects, complicated projects, complex projects, and chaotic projects. It's not very important from exam perspective, but just in worst case scenario, if you get it, you should know that Stacy complexity model categorizes projects in four different categories: simple, complicated, complex, and chaotic. That's it, everybody. With this, we are done with lesson number 2. Very important from your exam perspective. Starting the project, we talked about 4 different sections in it. We started our discussion with developing project charter. Then we talked about team development, team formation. Third thing, we talked about identification of stakeholders. And in identification, we talked about planning part of stakeholders as well. And the last thing we talk about is how to select the right methodology for your project. We'll take a short break. After the break, when we come back, we'll be talking about lesson number 3, which is planning the project. All right, everybody, welcome back. So now we're going to start lesson number 3. Lesson number 3 is planning the project, the longest lesson in our course. And let's start it. Please confirm if my voice is loud and clear. Am I audible?
Yes,
Can
it's
you all
very
hear
clear.
me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so we are going to talk about the planning section of your project, right? And in this section, we will be talking about how to develop a project management plan. Now, when we say project management plan is collection of various subsidiary plans. So for example, in project management plan, you have scope management plan, schedule, cost, resources, quality, procurement, risk, communication, stakeholders. All of these plans collectively, we call them project management plan. So in order to develop a project management plan, right, you need to develop all these plans one by one, right? So project management plan contains the subsidiary plans. It contains 3 baselines: scope, schedule, cost. It contains some other components: change plan, configuration plan, lifecycle approach, performance baseline. So collectively, all of these things, we call it project management plan. This is what we need to develop. And in order to develop this, we'll start our discussion with the first one, scope management plan. You understand, everybody? Now we are going to start scope management plan or scope planning. Okay. First, we will be discussing scope planning in waterfall. And then we will be discussing scope planning in agile. So let's talk about scope planning in waterfall. Is it clear, everybody? Any questions so far? Anyone, please, before we start? Any question, please? No question? All set? Should we start? scope planning in waterfall. Okay. Waterfall, it's a process-based approach, right? We do upfront planning. So first we will be doing planning, then execution. This is what we call waterfall. Okay. So first of all, we need to understand the concept of scope. What is meant by word scope when you hear this word? What is meant by that? Anyone, please? What is meant by word scope?
What needs to be done, or
What needs to be done?
what needs to be delivered.
That's right. Absolutely. What needs to be done or what needs to be delivered. In simple word, all the work which you are supposed to do in your project, that's what we call project scope. So we use two terminologies, project scope versus product scope. Project scope means all the activities, and product scope, all the features. Let's say you are building, uh, am I audible, everybody? Can you all hear me clearly? Is my voice
We
loud and clear
can.
for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, Jen is having some issues. So is it for everybody or just for her? Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes,
We
we can
can.
hear you.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So we use two words, project scope and product scope. So project scope means all the activities and product scope means features and functionalities. Let's say you're building a house and I say construction of roof. What is this? Is it project scope or product scope?
Project scope.
Why?
Because
Because
it's
here we have to complete the activities. Yani,
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an activity, right? And if I
yeah.
say uh, kitchen, what is this?
Sorry, come again.
Kitchen. In house, you
Kitchen.
have kitchen. What is this?
Project
This
scope.
can also be called as
Cooking.
project scope.
How?
If it is a typical kitchen, like installation of cabinets,
Yeah.
similar, this will be same like activities. If there are
Installation
more,
of, one second, one second. Installation of cabinet is an activity, but kitchen itself is not an activity. Kitchen is
uh-huh.
a feature of your product, feature of your house. So if
Mhm.
I'm talking about feature, it's called
Oh,
product scope. If I'm talking about building that feature, creating that
mhm.
feature, developing that feature, that's what we call project scope,
Oh,
right? So
yes.
installation of cabinet is project scope, kitchen itself is product scope, but usually we use one terminology that's we call project scope. Okay. So scope planning, it has certain steps in it. So step one, we develop scope management plan and requirement management plan. That's step number one. Step two, we collect requirements. Step three, we define scope. And step four, we decompose scope. In simple words, first we develop plans, then we collect requirements, then we refine requirements, and then we decompose. So these are four steps in scope planning. Plan, collect, refine, decompose. In planning, you develop these two plans. In collection, you collect requirements and you develop requirement documentation and traceability metrics. In refine, you develop scope statement. And decompose, you develop work breakdown structure. You understand, everybody? Four steps: plans, collect, refine, decompose. So these are four steps in scope planning. So in plan, we develop these four plans. In collect, we do this. In refine, we do this. And in decompose, we do this. This is your entire scope planning process. In planning, we develop these two documents as an output, scope management plan and requirement management plan. In collection, we develop these two documents, requirement documentation and requirement traceability management. In refine, we develop scope statement. In decompose, we develop work breakdown structure and WBS dictionary. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes.
So overall, these 7 documents are output of your entire scope planning process. You should have solid understanding that what is the difference between these different documents. Okay. So first one is scope planning, where we develop scope management plan. I'm explaining for one and last time, right? For the entire course, all the plans, these plans that we have discussed, these subsidiary plans, these plans contain guidelines. These are generic guidelines on how you should be doing scope management. For example, it contains SOPs, policies, procedures, tools and techniques, right? Roles and responsibilities, templates and formats, units of measurement, performance measurement rule, authority level, how scope should be validated. These contains guidelines, right? Now, what is meant by guidelines? This is kind of a rule book for scope management. If you want to start scope management, you need to read scope management plan. Does scope management plan contain requirements? Anyone, please?
No,
Why?
but it guides you how to collect the requirements.
Absolutely fantastic. It guides you how to collect requirements, right? It does not contain requirements. So see, before you start doing something, you need guideline. If I say, um, buy 100 laptops, let's say you are the procurement manager, what you should be doing? Let's say 100 employees have joined and we need 100 laptops. You're the procurement manager, and I say, procure 100 laptops. I'm the sponsor. I need 100 laptops for my team or my project team. What you should be doing?
I will contact with the supplier to
Okay.
ask for the quotation.
Okay. Anybody else?
Just
Anyone
float the
else?
inquiry and get the quotation from vendor.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'll
And
gather the information, the specifications that the user will need.
Okay. You need specification. Okay. What else? Answer is saying make a plan. Burhanuddin is saying RFP. Ask what kind of specs are needed. Okay, perfect. Let's say I tell you these are the specs that I need. I need a MacBook Pro 16 inches, 256 GB, this, that. I have told you. Then what? I told you I need 100 laptops with these specifications. Then what?
We need to have an approval from the manager, and
Approve.
once we have approval with about the criteria of the laptops, then we will process with the RFQ.
Why? Why don't you just go to the Apple store and buy 100 laptops? I told you these are the laptops that I need. Just go and buy and give it to my team.
We
We
have to
need
have
it.
proper documentations for that.
Why? What's wrong with going and buying directly from an Apple store? What's wrong with that?
Because we have
Uh,
to
Is
follow the process,
is
we have to follow the
company
standard
policy.
procedure.
Okay, we have to follow the standard procedure. Yeah, that's the point. So whatever you want to do, you need standard procedure first, right? So similarly, when you're going to define your scope, you need to develop standard procedure first. So whether you are procuring something, whether you are hiring a resource, whether you are looking for more resources, whatever you are going to do, first of all, you need some guidelines. Those set of guidelines is called relevant plan. Similarly, in order to manage scope, you need scope related guidelines. And scope related guidelines are documented in scope management plan and requirement management plan. If we don't have these guidelines, what will happen? What if we directly jump to collect requirements? Let's say we're not doing this. What will happen? what will happen?
Each individuals or each department will follow their own procedures, and there will be not a
Absolutely.
centralized.
Absolutely. Absolutely right. Same is the case for this class. If before the class, let's say I didn't tell you which platform we will be using for this class, what would happen on the day of class? Different people would be going for different platforms. Some would be Zoom, Team, Google Meet, right? Lack of standardization, lack of shared understanding. People would be moving in different directions. So to make sure everybody has shared understanding on how we are going to do it, we need to have standard procedures. Typically, and who develops these standard procedures? Who develops these standard procedures? Who is responsible for that?
It's the
PMO.
sponsor is the project managers,
Project manager.
including the teams.
PMO.
PMO.
It's the PMO, Project Management Office. Remember supportive PMO? The
Yes,
job of
yes.
supportive PMO is to develop standard procedures. Now, my question to you is, if these procedures are already developed, then why we are doing it again? Why it falls under the responsibility of PM here if they are already developed?
Each project is different, so they have to
Fantastic.
tailor it to their own project.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Each project is unique, right? Right? Each project is unique. Each project is unique. So we need to tailor those standard guidelines according to the need of the project. So project manager and the team, they take the standard guidelines, they will discuss and tailor according to their own needs. Right? So this is what step number one. Once step number one is done, we move to step number two, collect requirements. And we collect requirements from all the stakeholders. There are different ways to collect requirements. Surveys, meetings, site visits, interviews, historical analysis, document analysis, business requirement collection, lessons learned, expert judgment, market research, competitor studies, benchmarking, observation, brainstorming, nominal group, focus group, prototype, affinity diagram, context diagram, mind maps. All of these are different techniques. These are called data gathering techniques. You collect data. Brainstorming, when you want to create as many ideas as possible, it's random idea generation. When the focus is on quantity of ideas, we'll go with brainstorming. Survey, when you have large audience, which is geographically dispersed. And when you're interested in statistical analysis, you go with surveys and questionnaire. Meetings, interviews, when you need information from senior executives or you need confidential information. Nominal group meeting. Nominal group meeting. Nominal group meeting is a structured form of brainstorming. Brainstorming is random idea generation. Nominal group meeting is structured form of brainstorming. What is meant by structured? Everybody would be speaking on their own turn. Everybody would be contributing, right? Everybody's opinion is taken into consideration and we will be ranking ideas at the end. That's what we call nominal group. You understand, everybody? What's the
Yes.
difference between brainstorming and nominal group? And then we have focus group. Focus group is when subject matter experts sit with key stakeholders. They sit together and they make decisions. They discuss. Prototype, basic version, sample. You develop prototype, you show it to customer, you seek feedback, and you identify requirements. Let's say you're going to build a house. Before you build the house, build a sample, prototype. Show that prototype to customer. When customer looks at the prototype, they will refine their requirements. So prototypes are helpful in refining requirements. Munib, you have a question?
Sir, I couldn't get why are we getting this information for? Like, I mean, what will this information do in scope management plan?
Sorry, what?
For what purpose we are gathering this information? What does it have to do with the scope management?
How you get to know what is the work that you need to do in your project? How? If you don't talk to stakeholders, if you don't talk to customer, if you don't interview them, if you don't sit with them, how you get to know what work you're supposed to do?
Got it, sir. Got it.
So this is a step two where you're collecting requirements, and these are different ways to collect requirements. Interview, customer surveys, observation, site visits, market studies, competitor analysis, benchmarking, observation, right? These are different ways to collect requirements. Okay, one, and then we use context diagram as well. Context diagram is looking at your product in broader context. Let's say if we are building a university, we need to look at who would be using or who would be interacting with the university. So students will be documenting students' requirements, community requirements, teachers' requirements, authors' requirements, parents' requirements, government requirements. So it helps you identify a comprehensive list of requirements. This is called context diagram. You understand, everybody? And then
Yes.
affinity diagram, very important from exam. Affinity diagram is a data representation technique. Others were data gathering technique. This is data representation technique. In affinity, affinity means similarity. You categorize ideas based on similarity. Let's say product related requirement, quality related requirement, business related requirements, legal requirements, technical requirements, environmental requirements. So categorizing requirements in different categories based on similarity, this is what we call affinity diagram, right? Once you collect all the requirements, you categorize them based on similarity, and this is called affinity diagram. Okay, so these are
Can you
different
please
techniques
give me
that
an
we,
example of affinity diagram? Sorry.
yeah, it's a simple categorization. Let's say you collected all the requirements from different stakeholders, and then you categorize those requirements. I say, okay, these are, let's say, technical requirement. These are functional requirement. These are business requirement, right? So all technical requirements would be here. All functional requirements would be here. So it's just taking disorganized data and categorizing them in different categories. This is affinity diagram. It's a
So
simple
cluster data
table.
is structured.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
structured data in different categories. Okay. So what you develop is you develop requirement documentation and requirement traceability matrix, two documents. Requirement documentation is simple list of all requirements, simple list, listing all the requirements. A document that contains all the requirements is called requirement documentation. You understand, everybody? Document that contains all customer requirements is called requirement documentation. Then we have requirement traceability matrix. As the name indicate, it is used to trace requirements with one or more objective. Each requirement should link with one or more project objective. What does it mean? If a requirement is not linked with an objective, means it's not needed, right? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Let's say if my objective is to develop something that help people pass the PMP exam, right? And somebody comes and they say, okay, can we add a game on our learning management system? If game does not contribute to passing the PMP exam or preparing the PMP exam, I should not add that because it's not linked with my objective. But if it is contributing to that objective, I will be adding that. So each requirement should be linked with one or more objective. So RTM helps you eliminate unrelated requirements. You understand, everybody?
Yes.
So RTM links requirement with your project objectives. Okay, once it is done, once you list down all the requirements, then you refine your scope in the form of step 3. How you refine? You remove duplication, you remove redundant requirements, you remove which are not feasible, you remove which are not needed, right? You remove unwanted requirements and you add missing requirements to have a comprehensive scope. This step is called define scope. And that document in which we have refined form of scope, that's called scope statement. So from scope management plan to collect requirements to scope statement. Does it make sense, everybody?
Yes.
So what we have in scope statement, description of scope, your deliverables, your acceptance criteria, your exclusions. Acceptance criteria. When we write a requirement, we also document acceptance criteria. Why? Who would like to answer? Why
Let's
we
suppose
document?
let's suppose we are constructing a villa for a client, and we accepted some we accepted with him like we will give you 3 rooms and 1 kitchen in that villa. Okay.
Mhm.
And after the construction of villa, he should accept this one, not to tell us that he need one more like this, one more like this.
Yeah, absolutely. To avoid confusion or conflicts at the end of project. So if you have listed down the acceptance criteria, right, it would be easier to seek formal validation from client, right? I hope it is clear. Okay. Then we decompose scope in the form of work breakdown structure, WBS. What is WBS? WBS is hierarchical decomposition of your scope. There are different levels of work breakdown structure. Name of project, top level. Next is control account, then planning package, then work package. 4 levels. Name, control account, planning package, and work package. Remember for your exam, work package is the lowest level of your work breakdown structure. And each work package contains multiple activities. Does it make sense, everybody?
Yes.
Each work package contains multiple activities, right? So work package is the lowest. Now, this is a hierarchical structure. Why do we do that? Because if we don't decompose, we cannot do planning, right? You need to divide it in different sections. Let's say you're preparing for PMP exam and you want to know how much time it will take. In order to calculate time, you need to divide this preparation in different sections, right? Course, reading, mock test, right? Exams, registration and scheduling. When you divide it in different sections, you can add effort. Once you add effort, you can calculate time. So for further planning, you need to decompose your entire project in smaller and manageable sections. This step is called decomposition of scope. And this is done in the form of work breakdown structure and WBS dictionary. The difference between WBS and WBS dictionary is that WBS, it's a structure, hierarchical structure, like this. And dictionary is a descriptive document. For example, what is the description of this control account 2? That is documented in WBS dictionary. So collectively, with the help of these two documents, we decompose the scope at desired level where we can do further planning. Okay, once we complete all 4 steps, we develop scope baseline. And what is scope baseline? It is collection of 3 things. Scope statement, WBIS, and WBIS dictionary. Collectively, this is called scope baseline, which is approved scope of your project. Approved means approved by the customer, locked scope. Like this is the scope, and based on that, we will be building our product. So when we say scope baseline, we are not creating something new. We are taking scope baseline, scope statement from the previous step, WBS and dictionary from this step, and collectively these 3 documents are called scope baseline. You understand, everybody? Does it make sense?
And,
Once scope baseline is developed, we are done with the planning part of project from scope perspective. Now scope is locked. It is final. Now we can do further planning and we jump to the execution part. So scope planning in waterfall is done with 4 steps. Step number 1, plan. You develop plans. Step number 2, you collect requirements. Step number 3, you refine requirements. Step number 4, you decompose requirements. Once all 4 steps are done, you get scope baseline. Scope baseline is approved version of your project scope. If it is not approved, we cannot call it scope baseline, right? If you have 3 unapproved documents, it's not baseline. Baseline means approved, agreed by all parties, agreed by relevant stakeholders. Once we reach the agreement, we're done with the planning part of scope management in Waterfall. Time for question. If you have any question, please feel free to ask.
and this scope statement is actually the refined scope after removing the duplications and everything, right? Which
Yeah,
comes from the
absolutely.
previous requirement gathering step. Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any
I
other
just,
question? Yeah, Jen, go ahead.
sorry, the steps, I wrote 4 and you said 5. So I just want to confirm scope management plan, collect requirements, define scope or refine scope, decompose into work breakdown structure. What
Yeah,
was the
these are
5th
the
step?
4. No, 4
Okay,
steps. There are only 4 steps.
got it. And if I think of this documentation or like an output from this, is there
Yeah, so
6 document or how many documents do I have? Because I have 6 so far.
seven. Let me show you here. So first is scope management plan, then requirement management plan, then requirement documentation, then requirement traceability matrix, then scope statement, then WBS and WBS dictionary. 7,
Thank you.
right? And collectively, whatever we generate from 3 or 4, we call it baseline. I hope it is clear. So this is for waterfall. When you exactly know your requirements, you do planning like that. But let's talk about agile scope planning. In agile, we do planning at 5 levels. Level 1 is we develop vision statement. Level 2, we develop roadmap. Level 3, we do release planning. Level 4, sprint planning. And level 5, daily planning. So see, this is your agile life cycle: inception, construction, and transition. In inception, you develop vision statement and product roadmap. In construction, you do release planning, sprint planning, and daily planning. This is not physical construction and building. Construction means constructing the product, building the product, right? Developing the product. And transition, where you hand over the product to the customer. Okay, let's start with the first level. What are 5 levels, everybody? First is vision statement,
Roadmap.
product roadmap, release, sprint, and daily. 5 levels of planning in Agile. First is vision statement. It gives you the overall direction of the product. We have already talked about it, right? And it is developed during the initiation or inception stage of your project. We have already discussed it. What is going to be developed? Who is the end user? When it would be developed? Who will be doing what? What are the differentiator? What, why, when, who? This is your vision statement. It gives you overall direction. This is the sample for vision statement. For who is the target customer? What's the need? Please keep yourself on mute, everybody. So this is a sample vision statement. Please pay attention. It's very precise, small, to the point, just to have high level direction. Who is the target customer? What's the need? What is the product? Product category? Why we are building, right? Who are the competitors? And how our product is different from competitor, right? When you have this, it gives you overall direction. Okay, this is what we need. This is the objective. This is what we want to build. This is the competition. This is our product. And this is how our product would be different from competitors. When you have that in mind, you end up building that could compete with customer, right? You understand, everybody? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Can you please repeat this sample box?
Yeah, it's just why, when, and how of the project,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
It gives overall high level direction of your product, like what you are going to build, why we are building, for whom you are building, who is in your competition, how your project is different from competitor, right? You understand? Does it make sense?
Yes, yes. Got it.
Fantastic. Once you develop vision statement, okay, let me talk a little bit more about different roles and responsibilities in Agile. In Waterfall, we have sponsor, we have project manager, and we have PM team. In Agile, we have three different roles: product owner, scrum master, and development team. Product owner, scrum master, and development team. In Waterfall, team reports to PM and PM reports to sponsor. It's a vertical hierarchy in Waterfall. In Agile, there is no hierarchy. PO, scrum master, and team, they work at horizontal level. Team does not report to scrum master, and scrum master does not report to PO. Each of these three different roles, they have their distinct responsibilities. Let me explain it. The job of product owner is to interact with the customer and document product requirements. Define the product. That's the job of product owners. The job of Scrum Master is to make sure that team members follow the right process. And the job of development team is to build the product. You understand, everybody? PO takes care of product, Scrum Master takes care of process, and development team takes care of development. Now, let me ask you a question. You are the project manager and you observe that team members skip sprint review meeting. Who is responsible for this? Product owner, Scrum Master, or development team?
Scrum Master.
Okay. Why?
Because the Scrum Master is the project the project manager for Agile, and he should be able.
No,
He is
no.
responsible. He.
Sorry. Scrum Master is not project manager for Agile.
Mm-hmm.
No. In Scrum, there is no project manager. We talked about three roles: PO, Scrum Master, and development team. There is no
Development
project
team.
manager. Why Scrum Master is responsible in this situation?
Because they are the executor of the requirement from coming from the product owner.
So is it a problem of requirement execution? What's the problem here? What went wrong?
Can I take it back?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's not Scrum Master. It's all of them. Everyone is
Okay.
responsible for their own task, for their own
Okay.
area of expertise.
So skipping sprint review meeting. What is this? What's happening here?
They are missing all the review. They are missing all the information that has been shared between the team.
Okay. Chinmay, you're saying process how? What does that mean?
Report Scrum Master is responsible for the processes
Right?
to ensure
What's
that
happening in
the
this situation? In this situation, team is not following the right process, right? They're skipping one step in the process. Scrum Master is responsible to ensure the integrity of the process. Let me give you another example. Team members are working on a requirement which is not fully explained by the customer. Who is responsible for that?
Product owner.
Product owner. It's the job of product owner to list down requirements and seek clarity from customer. PO is a link between team and customer. All customer interactions should be with the product owner. PO is a bridge between team and customer. Team members do not directly interact with customer, right? It's the product owner's job to interact with the customer, to understand their requirement, document the requirements, prioritize them, and then hand it over to the team. Okay, one more question. Team members are have started working on a low priority requirement because they were not sure about which one should be completed first. Who is responsible for this situation?
Product owner,
Product owner.
Why?
because
Because
he's
he,
getting the requirements from customer and prioritization from the customer.
Okay. During the sprint review meeting, a key feature failed the acceptance criteria. Who is responsible for that?
Product owner.
Development team.
team.
Development team, fantastic. They have developed a wrong product. Now you see, this is how PMI tests you. This is what the real learning is, right? Let me just share a document here for you if I can. Oh, who should do what? Okay, I have shared two documents in the chat. Actually, it's the same document. It's the same content presented in two different forms. One is a little elaborated, other is a kind of summary. Who should do what in Agile, okay? So usually we have three roles. We may have a project manager for large products, and the job of project manager is coordination and collaboration. You understand? PO's job is to take care of product and features. Scrum Master's job is to take care of process. Development team job is to develop the product, and project manager is there for coordination and collaboration. Is it clear, everybody? And nobody reports to no one. All work at horizontal hierarchy. So I hope you got the clarity about roles and responsibilities. You'll see a lot of questions in the exam about roles and responsibility, and this document is really, really helpful to you to understand these roles and responsibilities. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes.
Any confusion about it? So you can use this document, this 3-page document, and it's fantastic. 33 roles. If you understand these 33 roles, you will get to know your uh, so exam would be much, much easier. Okay.
If you post it in
Right.
the LMS or just email the document, in my chat, it just says this content can't be viewed here.
You want me to email this to you?
Yes, or another method. It just in my chat, it says the content can't be viewed here, so I cannot open it up.
Okay, sure. I'll do that. Let me do it right now. Just a second.
Did this work for other people? This is just me.
So you can't see in the chat, in the Zoom chat, Jen?
I can totally see in the Zoom chat. It says this content can't be viewed here.
Yes, sir,
Oh,
I am having the same issue.
I
It's
think
not me.
it's only for you, I guess, no?
No, no, sir, I am having the same issue.
I
Okay,
think
I
anybody
can't.
else?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I can't open it. It's saying that unable to open.
no, you can download it and you should have a PDF. Then you can actually open.
Yeah, you can download it. If you click on it, there's an
Yeah.
arrow. If you click on the arrow,
Yeah. I downloaded it, but I
but
can't find it anywhere in the file section of my phone.
Sir, we can't see even an arrow.
okay. So let me just share in the WhatsApp chat, and I'll also add it on the LMS as well, okay? So I have
Mhm.
sent
Yes.
in your WhatsApp group. You can check your
Yeah.
WhatsApp and I hope you should be able to get access to it.
Yes, that's good.
Okay, fantastic. I hope you got the idea about roles and responsibility. Very important section from exam. Okay, once vision statement is developed, then you develop product roadmap. Roadmap is high-level direction of your product, how you're going to build your product. So this is your 12 months long product. You divide it in releases. Release is a time-boxed duration. Release is your time-boxed duration. So release is the promise to the customer, okay, we will be releasing a chunk of your product in, let's say, okay, just a second, please. Just a second, please. So let me, Jen is not in WhatsApp group, so let me just add her. I forgot it, I guess.
Thank you.
Okay, so Jen, you're in the group and I have sent you both the files, okay? Right. So once we develop our vision statement, then we map roadmap. So in roadmap, you can see key features on timeline. So on top, you have timeline and then key features. So what you can see on the roadmap, you can see sequence, you can see priority, you can see how much time a feature will be taking, you can plan your resources, right? You can define milestones, and it is used for to share progress with the customer. So it's a tool to share progress with the customer. It's a high level direction of your project. That's level two planning. Now, once level two planning is done, then we jump to level three planning. And level three is focusing on this only, ignoring this. This is what we call rolling wave planning. What is rolling wave planning? Focusing on near term work and ignoring the far term work, right? That's what we discussed. Rolling wave planning, focusing on first wave only. So we are focusing on first release and we are ignoring these. Why we are ignoring these? Who would like to answer? Why we are ignoring these? Why we are just focusing on first release?
We do not have full clarity over the.
Absolutely, absolutely. We do not have clarity about these features. If we don't have clarity, we are ignoring them until we have clarity. So we are focusing on first release. So we do release planning.
Sir, I have a
So
question.
release is the time box duration in which you promise to deliver something to the customer, and length of a release varies from 2 to 6 months. Yes, Manip, go ahead.
Sir, how can we define it as a 12 months project since we are not clear about the scope in the beginning?
Based on available scope, we can have a rough estimate that this project will take, let's say, 18 months. This project will take 6 months, right? Based on
Uh,
rough idea, based on available information. Obviously, it may take 18 months. So you keep on adding more releases. But based on
got
available information, we say, okay, based on available information, this work should take 12 months. And let's say divide 12 months in four releases, right? This is all assumption, high level. This is not detailed. And in reality, it could be anything. It could be 9 months, it could be 20 months, it could be 30 months. Just to start something, you assume these, okay? Based on your past experience. Okay. Then we do release planning. And in release planning, what you do is you develop your product backlog, right? This is your product backlog. In product backlog, you have user stories. In Waterfall, we use word requirement for customer needs. Here we use word user story. User story is a product functionality from user perspective. And decomposition of work in Agile works like this. On top, you have epics, then features, then user story. Epic is collection of multiple features. Please pay attention, everybody. Let's say customer says, I need a learning management system for my students. Now this LMS is called Epic because in LMS, there are multiple features. On your LMS, you have multiple features. One feature to access video recordings, right? Another feature is to do mock test. Third feature is to access reading material. So you have multiple features on your LMS. So LMS is called Epic. Within Epic, there are multiple features, and each feature has multiple functionalities. For example, in video recordings, you have a feature to download it. Download it is one user story. You have a feature to stop the video. This is another. You have a feature to, let's say, highlight something. That's another feature. That's another user story. So on top, you have Epic, then features, then user story. Does it make sense, everybody? So you divide your Epic into feature and feature into user story. It's same decomposition concept. So it's breaking down work in your smaller and manageable sections. This is also called breakdown of work. This is also called work breakdown structure. You understand? So work breakdown structure is used both in waterfall and agile. Okay. So what I did is each dot is a user story. So I divided my dots into releases, release 1, release 2, release 3. Okay. So what is product backlog? This is called product backlog. Product backlog is collection of all the user stories. If you focus on word, product backlog, all the work to be done, right? That's called product backlog. Okay. Um, who is responsible to develop this? Anyone, please. Who
Product
is responsible to
Product owner.
product owner.
product owner? It's the product owner's job to talk to the customer, to understand their requirements, and to refine or manage backlog. This is called backlog refinement. This is called backlog grooming. This is called backlog development. All these things are done by product owner's responsibility. Okay. Now let me talk about the format of a user story. A user story written on a card, 2 by 3 inch card, and it's written like this. As a user, I need this functionality so that I could perform or achieve this business objective. In a user story, we have three things. Who is requesting, right? What is requesting and why is requesting? Who, what. This is how a requirement is documented in Agile, right? Why we are writing in this format? Why? Who would like to answer?
Standard format. So standard format for to capture the
There should be
requirement.
some purpose of standard format. Why? There should be purpose, right? Why standard format does not only have user? Why standard format does not only have functionality? Why these three things? Why?
uh, to elaborate the requirements precisely.
To
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
information.
We call it a user story. A user story. What is a story? Story is something that is easily understandable, right? We call it, okay, tell me the story. Tell me how event happened in a simplified manner, right? That's what we call story. Something in a simplified manner, in simple words. So writing down features in simplified manner, that's what we call user story. Is it clear, everybody? So that's we call user story. A product functionality in a simplified manner from a user perspective. So this is
User
how we
story,
write it.
user story and user journey is the same thing.
No, user journey is a different thing, right? That's what we call use case.
Okay.
Use case tells you how a user will be interacting with the product. There's a difference between user story and use case. Let's say I'll give you an example. On your LMS, what's the first thing that you do?
Login.
You log in. Login is a user story. Login is a user story. So for example, I say, as an instructor, I want a login functionality so that I could give secure access to my student. This is a user story. Now, what is a use case? When I tell a user story to the developer, they will write a use case.
Okay.
Now, what does that mean? Why they will be writing a use case?
To define the journey, that how this login process will work.
Yeah, let me explain it. So what they're going to do is they will write a user's journey. They will say, okay, a user will click on a URL, then they will see an interface, then they will write their login details, then they will enter their password, then they will click on login, right? And then they will access to that. What's the benefit of that? Why? Why they're doing that? Why they're doing that?
Get the acknowledgement and confirmation from the product owner that this is what exactly they are looking for.
No, as let's say I'm the client, I don't care about that, right? I want to give secure access to my students.
Mhm.
I don't care about those steps and what they are doing. What I want is, as a customer, I want to give secure access to my students. I don't care about steps. I want the most efficient way to give access to my students. That's my need. Need come from customer, right? Now, why team members they write the use case? Because use case helps you identify more requirements. How? When I write the use case, I write, okay, there could be two possibilities. One student who enters the right password and right username, they will get access to the LMS. And there is another possibility, student enters the right username but wrong password. They will not able to get access to that. Then what should I do at that point in time? As a developer, what should I do? How can I entertain that student who could not enter the right password? Means I need to give an option of reset password. As a customer, I didn't tell you add this requirement, but by understanding user behavior, you as a developer understood that this requirement is needed. If you don't add that requirement, you're not fulfilling my need. What was my need? To give secure access to my student. If my students are not getting secure access, then it means you did not fulfill my need, right? So it's your responsibility to do every possible thing to fulfill that need. That's why you need to map user behavior in the form of use case so that you better understand that and you come up with complete functionality that fulfills my need. So PMI says fulfilling needs, customer needs, it's the responsibility of team and PO. It's not the job of customer. Customer job is to tell you what's my need. How to fulfill that, that's your job. Does it make sense, everybody? So that's why writing down use case is really important so that you better understand customer requirement. And similarly, we write personas. Then I'll come to you. Persona. What is a persona? Persona is a fictional character, something that does not exist in real. Let's say I'm a developer and I want to develop an LMS. So I will assume a fictional character who does not exist. Let's say I assume Burhan, assuming there is no Burhan, right? I have no contact with Burhan. I assume Burhan is a person with 20 years of experience, lives in, let's say, New York, works in ABC IT company, right? And they have this much time, they have a laptop, right? I will be writing their name, age, characteristic, their need, right? Why I'm doing that? to better understand my user's requirement. So rather than I go to the market and find Burhan and talk to Burhan, I will be sitting in my office. I assume a fictional character, right? And I think about, okay, this is my potential customer. These are his characteristics and these are their requirements. So personas are used to document customer requirements or user needs by assuming potential customers. You understand? I don't know who is Burhan. I don't know who is Jen, but I'm just assuming Jen could be my one of potential customer. Jen lives there. Jen has, this is the family. Jen has this much time, right? All the things I'm writing so that I could write potential customer and their needs. So we develop personas. Personas are developed to better understand customer requirements. This is done by the team and product owner. Okay, Jen, go ahead. You have a question?
Yes. So I understand the idea and the purpose and the intent behind the epics, the features, and the use cases. Is when does that occur? When I go back to like when you started with the 5 levels of planning, and
Yeah.
it was like 5 steps. Where does that task occur?
That's a very good question. I'll come to that. So typically we do that in release planning and sprint planning. Here we do that. Decomposition happens here. Primarily in sprint planning. Primarily in sprint planning. We decompose tasks. I'll come to that. So you do your release planning. We talked about format and each user story should fulfill the invest criteria: independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable. User story should be independent. It should be negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable. It should not be dependent on other user stories. Each functionality should be independent, right? Okay. And in release plan, what we do is we divide each release into iterations. So what I did, I'm narrowing down my focus from 12 months to 4 months, or 3 months, and 3 months to 1 month. Let me go back. So here my focus is 12 months. When I talk to release, my focus is just first 3 months. And further, I divide these 3 months into 1 month iteration, second month, third month. So I narrowed down my focus from 12 months to 1 month. That's what we call rolling wave planning. So in release planning, what I'm doing is I'm dividing my release into iterations. Iteration is a subset of release. Iteration is a subset of release. Once it is done, we move to sprint planning or iteration planning. Sprint or iteration is a time box duration and its length varies from 1 to 4 weeks. What was the length of a release? What was the length of a
Two to
release?
6 months. 2 to 6 months.
Fantastic. And what is length of release in our example?
3 months.
3 months. Fantastic. And how many iteration we have in 3 months?
3.
And what was the length of one sprint in our example?
1 month.
1 month.
1 month or 4 weeks. Fantastic, right? And what's the prescribed length of an iteration?
1 to 4 weeks.
1 to 4 weeks. And are we within our prescribed duration in our example?
Yes.
Yes, because it's 4 weeks. Okay. So what we do here is activities in sprint planning. We elaborate user stories. We prioritize user stories. We estimate user story. We define acceptance criteria. We do story planning. We write definition of done and acceptance criteria, DOD and acceptance criteria. Now remember, what's the difference between DOD and acceptance criteria? DOD is for the team and acceptance criteria is with the customer. I repeat, as a team, if you want to complete your work, all the conditions or activities that you write, that's called DOD. For example, what's the DOD and acceptance criteria of this course? How these two are different? Anyone, please?
DOD could be that we prepare the exam
Okay,
by reading the material, having the training sessions, doing the mock test.
okay,
And the acceptance criteria is we are successfully completed the exam.
Absolutely right. DoD is for yourself. Like you have enrolled in the course, you have taken all the classes, you have solved all the mock tests, you get reviews, feedback. Yes, all these things are DoD. PMI has nothing to do with it. PMI would not ask you if you have done this or not. What PMI is concerned with, considering PMI is the end user or the owner, PMI concerns with you should pass the exam. So acceptance criteria is, let's say, 70%. You should get more than 70%. That's the acceptance criteria. The final thing. All the things that you would be doing to achieve 70%, that's called DoD. So DoD is for you and acceptance criteria is for customer. And there is another thing that's called DOR, definition of ready. DoD is set of things which you are supposed to do to consider your work complete, and DOR set of things which you are supposed to do to kickstart your work. What is DOR of this course? What is
Business,
DOR of this course?
business environment.
How? DOR of this course.
The content of the course.
Yeah, payment, fee. That's one of the
Hmm.
definition of ready. You would be ready to take the class once you have paid for it. What else? You're eligible, right? You have 4 years of education and experience, right? That's also DOR. What are the conditions which you are supposed to fulfill to kickstart the course? That's DOR. Prerequisites before the course, that's DOR. You understand that? So I hope you get the idea what is DOR, what is DoD, and what is acceptance criteria. So we can use different prioritization techniques for prioritization: simple, high, medium, low, Moscow, must have, should have, could have, wouldn't have, paired comparison, 100 points method, monopoly money. These are different methods that we use for prioritization. These won't be tested in exam, but let me quickly give an overview of. So in Moscow prioritization, we divide feature in 4 different categories: must have, should have, could have, and wouldn't have. These are must have features, these are should have, these could have, and wouldn't have. Must have features, mandatory. You cannot exclude them. For example, steering wheel in a car, it's a must have feature. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Should have. Let's say, what's the example of should have?
Air in the wheel, air in the tire,
Sorry, what?
air in the tire pressure air.
Yeah, absolutely. Should have, absolutely. That will
Safety
affect
bags
your
in a car.
performance. That will affect your performance. Safety, yeah. Airbags. Could have, nice to have things. If you have them, wonderful. Heated seats. If you have, wonderful. If
Yes.
you don't have, no problem. Nice to have things. Wouldn't have things which you shouldn't be having in your car, right? Now, paired comparison. Let's say you have A, B, C, D features. So in paired comparison, we'll take A and B and we will compare. Let's say B is more important. And we compare C and D, and D is important. In B and D, D. So it means D is more important. So this is paired comparison. When you compare in pairs, that's called paired comparison. Right? Perfect. Then we use 100-point methods. So what we do is everybody would be having 100 points. And let's say there are 5 features, and I ask you to distribute these 100 points across these features. Everybody would be allocating points. Let's say, let me write it here. So A, B, C, D, E. Let's say one person allocates 50 here, 50 here. Other person give 25, 25, 25, 25. Other person give 100. Other person gave, let's say, 75 and 25. So the feature that gets the highest point will be prioritized. You understand, everybody? Does it make sense?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Distributing 100 points Similarly, monopoly money. I'll give you fake notes, fake currency notes in real. Everybody will be having notes, currency, fake currency. And I'll ask you, buy these features from me. And let's say Burhanuddin comes and he says, I can buy feature C for $80. Let's say everybody has $100. So feature C is $80. And I'm willing to pay $10 for B, I'm willing to pay $7 for A, and I'm willing to pay $3 for E. It means this is his understanding of priority. He's prioritizing C over everything. C, B, A, E. This is his sequence. And let's say Numera comes and Numera says, I'm going to buy this at 100. So for her, D is the topmost priority. And somebody else comes in and they say, I can buy this feature in 75 and I can buy this feature in 25. And somebody else comes in and they say, okay, I can buy this feature in 100. So we add all the money of all the feature and then we rank. The feature that gets the highest money will be ranked at the top. It's similar to 100 points, but in the form of currency to make it more interactive. And then we have Kano model. Kano model is again similar to Moscow. We categorize feature in 5 different categories. Slightly difficult, but let me explain it in simplified manner. So first we have 2 axes, as you could see. On horizontal axis, we have fulfillment versus non-fulfillment. On the vertical axis, we have satisfaction and dissatisfaction. Top satisfaction and bottom dissatisfaction. Right fulfillment, left unfulfillment. First is the black line. If you see black line, this is a set of features. If you add or do not add, there is no impact on your satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Satisfaction and dissatisfaction remain same. Does it make sense, everybody?
Yes.
Does it make sense? Okay. So for example, I'll say if you take my class, I'll add you on my LinkedIn. I mean, it's okay. That's not a big deal. If I add or if I do not add, that won't give you a lot of benefit. So you're neutral. Offering this feature as part of this course or not offering would not make you satisfied or dissatisfied. Does it make sense? So that's a
Yes.
neutral feature, basic feature. Then reverse feature. If I say, if you take my course, your preparation will take 5 extra months. Will you take my course? If I say, if you take my course, this will prolong your preparation by additional 6 months. If you take from somebody else, it will take 1 month. If you take my course, it will take 7 months. This is a reverse feature. I don't want it in my course. Then I say, okay, if you take my course, I'll give you live classes. I'll give you mock test. This is basic requirement. If I give that, you'll be okay. If I don't give, you will be dissatisfied. Does it make sense? Because this is basic requirement of a course. So this is set of features. Please pay attention on blue line. When I don't provide, you are dissatisfied in this quadrant. If it is not fulfilled, you are dissatisfied. And if it is provided, you are neutral. You will not be satisfied by just having the course. You will be only satisfied when the course is effective, right? What if when you enroll and I just give you access to the course? Will this make you satisfied?
No.
By just getting access to the course will not make you satisfied. You're just neutral. You say, if I take course from anywhere, they will give me access. It's not wow factor. So you will be neutral. But if you enroll in the course and I say there is no course, then you will be extremely dissatisfied, right? Why? Why we have paid? So this is basic feature. Let's say you buy a car and it doesn't have wheels. You buy a car and it doesn't have wheels, would you be satisfied? You will
No.
be
No.
extremely dissatisfied. And what if you buy a car and it has wheels? Would you be satisfied?
Yeah,
Yes.
these are the basic features.
You would not be satisfied. You would, okay, every car has wheels. This is nothing extraordinary here, right? You will not come to home and say, hey, I bought a new car and it has four wheels. Have you ever done this? No. You buy a phone and you're able to make a call. Would you be very excited? Oh wow, I bought a phone and I'm able to make a call. No problem. It's normal, right? Right? So it doesn't excite you. It's a basic functionality. It does not satisfy you. It's just the basic requirement, right? So this is basic features. Then performers. If you focus on this orange line or yellow line, this is set of feature. If you don't provide, people would be dissatisfied. If you provide, people would be satisfied. Quality of training. Low quality of training, people would be dissatisfied. If you keep on improving the quality of training, people's satisfaction would go up. This is called performers, right? For example, fuel efficiency of your car. If it is low, people would be dissatisfied. If you keep on improving it, people's satisfaction would go up. And then the last thing is exciters. Let's say you have enrolled in my course, and today I tell you, all of you can have free access to another course that I'm offering. How would you feel? How would you feel?
Very happy, very satisfied.
And what if I do not announce this? Then what would happen?
Will be neutral.
Well, you will be neutral, right? So if I don't provide, you can see this line straight, neutral. But once I announce, you got excited, right? So these are delighters or additional features. So we categorize feature in 5 different categories. Basic feature where we cannot compromise. These are the basics. You have to provide this. No question at all. You have to provide videos, you have to provide LMS, you have to provide questions, you have to provide wheels, windows, seats, steering, everything, engine, right? These are basic requirements. You cannot compromise. Then the second one is performers. Fuel efficiency, you need to provide that. Quality training, you need to provide that because it directly impacts the satisfaction levels. Then there are features which do not add any value. Like, I will add you to my LinkedIn. You say, okay, fine. It doesn't matter. I'll give you my contact number. It's okay. That's not a big deal, right? Neutral. It means if we spend money or if we don't spend money, it won't change customers. Let's say I'm developing an ad for my course and I'm writing, I'll add you in my LinkedIn. I should not add that because it will not give any value. So I should not put effort on that. Means these are the features which are not needed because they're not impacting customer satisfaction. Then reverse feature. These are the things which shouldn't be delivered. Otherwise, customer would be dissatisfied. And then these are the features that could excite my customer. You buy a car and once you sign it, they say lifetime free maintenance. You get excited. Wow, I didn't expect that. So you categorize features in different categories. This is how we do that. And then we do the last thing, daily stand-up meeting, right? Daily. Every day you conduct a meeting. And in that meeting, you talk about what you accomplished yesterday, what you're going to do today, and what are bottlenecks. So these are 5 levels of planning that you do in Agile. First, high level planning in the form of vision statement and roadmap. Then you further refine it at the release plan. Then you further refine it at the iteration plan. Then you further refine it at daily plan. So this is how we narrow down our focus to daily level tasks. That's what we call rolling wave planning, focusing on near-term work. And this is how it makes Agile flexible. When you focus on near-term work, everything else is flexible. For example, this is your product backlog. Once I'm only focusing on this, everything else is flexible. Customer may delete it, may add it, may change the sequence. It won't affect me because I'm focusing on my first iteration, right? I have only planned for first iteration. Does it make sense? So if anything changes, it won't affect me. So this is how Agile keeps things very flexible. So initially, I planned to complete scheduling today, very important topic, very lengthy as well, but due to time constraint, we couldn't do that. We need to do that next Saturday, right? Also, we won't be able to do the mock test, but I would encourage all of you, please watch recorded lecture of scheduling, right? And do the mock test. From tomorrow onwards, start with the first mock test business environment, then do build shared understanding, then do communication and stakeholders engagement. That's from lesson number 2 that we discussed today. And then do stakeholder scope management. These are the mock tests which you are supposed to complete in coming week. And fifth mock test would be scheduling. We haven't covered scheduling, but I encourage all of you watch recorded lectures of scheduling and do the mock test so that we complete all 5 mock tests in from Monday to Friday. But yes, we will be covering scheduling on Saturday as well. But just to make sure you're on track, please do watch recorded lectures of scheduling and do the mock test, okay? Right, everybody. So just one more thing. These live lectures are just kind of additional help, to be honest. If I were a student and if somebody takes my honest opinion, right? If I'm a student, if I have to choose for myself, I will stick to recorded lectures and the mock test. And if I have that, I can pass exam on the very first attempt. Yesterday, Jatin passed exam and he was enrolled in yesterday's class. He was enrolled for January 17th class, but he watched all the recorded lectures. He completed all the mock test, processed the application, and passed the exam on 16th of January. Why I'm saying that? Even if you're not taking the live class, the material that I have provided to you, that's more than enough to cover, understand, prepare, and pass the exam. This is additional help to you so that some people who couldn't watch the recordings, they come and they can ask questions here, right? So please stick to the, will we have access to your slides? Which slides? These slides?
Yeah, the ones you're using right now.
These are already available on your LMS. If you see
Okay.
your LMS, there are 3 tabs. First is video lessons. All the recorded lectures are there. Exactly same. What I taught today, exactly same. All same examples, everything on the LMS. If you just listen to that, you won't realize if it is recorded a year ago or if this is today's class. Exactly same. These are the same notes there. Second
Perfect.
tab
Thank
is
you.
the mock test, and the third is reading material. In the reading material, you could see these notes. They are there, 9-page long notes. You will find that. If you're not able to find that, drop me a text or email. I'll send it over to you, right?
Got it. Thank you.
The point that I want to make is, everybody, you have access to right material, right resources. Stick to that. Understand the concepts either through recorded lectures or these live lectures. And then do the mock test. That's the only way thousands of students have followed and they have passed the exam. And when you do the mock test, your score will be around 40%. So gradually you would go up 40, 45. So do not get discouraged if your score is 40%. This is pretty normal, right? You'll start with 40 or maybe 50 and then gradually you go up. Some questions would not make sense to you. Don't worry about that. Take picture, send over to me. The best way to communicate with me is through WhatsApp or simple text. Just send a text to me, right? Text message, right? Or if you want to discuss something, you can give me a call. If still you're not able to understand anything, we can schedule one-on-one meeting as well, right? The idea is you should understand each and everything, right? All right, with this, we're done with our today's agenda. Uh, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Anyone, please, any question?
Actually, I have a question. What is the difference between WBS and Epic?
Work breakdown structure, it's a structure to decompose large work into smaller work.
Yeah.
Epic is a block of features. So this is the difference. Epic, multiple features. Work breakdown structure is a process where you decompose that large feature. So this is the difference between WBS and Epic. So you decompose epics through WBS. Okay?
Mhm.
Who asked this question?
Zama.
Yeah. Is it clear? You understand?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, fantastic. Anybody else? Any other question? No question? Okay, everybody, please provide feedback about the class, right? I'll try to send you a link about yesterday class and today's class as well, right? No comparison overall feedback, right? So do not take these two classes differently. Just provide an overall feedback about your first weekend classes and mention areas of improvement. And we'll try to incorporate your feedback for next weekend classes. Okay, please do not hesitate. Be honest. No feedback is a bad feedback, right? Actually, bad feedbacks are good feedback, and good feedbacks are bad feedbacks. So, right, what are areas of improvements? How we can make these sessions more productive, efficient, and useful, right? So, whatever you have experienced or you have observed, please feel free to write it directly to me. You can write it through any channel. You can drop an email to me, right? All of you have access to, you have my email. You can drop a text. You can write in WhatsApp. You can write in group, whatever is convenient for you. But do provide your feedback about the class because that's gonna help us improve and make sure that you get what you actually enrolled for, right? All right, everybody, take good care of yourself. I'll see you all next weekend on Saturday. Uh, Hopefully, Instructor Mariam would be taking the class next Saturday, but we'll see. Maybe we both take the class. We may be co-teaching the class, but uh, that depends on the situation. Hopefully, she would be taking the class. But please complete all the mock tests. Monday to Friday, 5 mock tests. I repeat, first is business environment, second is build shared understanding, third is communication and stakeholders, fourth is, I guess, scope management, and fifth is schedule management. Complete these 5 mock tests, and these are available on your LMS under topic-wise mocks. In LMS, there are 2 sections, topic-wise and domain-wise. So you should focus on topic-wise mock test. All right, everybody, take good care of yourself. I'll see you all next weekend. Take care. Bye.